Mein Tag war heiter, glücklich meine Nacht.
And we're live. Gonna start with
Che silenzio qui.
gotta
Pensi che
just swap out
potresti
my base real
perderti
quick
tutto il divertimento che c'è là fuori?
while we wait for everyone to show up, but
I'd like a more private space. Is this place like a disco ray?
Not sending me out on a field mission today? Suit yourself.
Products received.
Doktor, was murmelst du denn da? Ich werde dich nicht zwingen, die Gedichte zu rezitieren. Aber du hast sie schon gelesen, nicht wahr?
hey, Lasat, how's it going? By the way, actually, Lasat, did I ever tell you that? Ooh, yeah. Hope you have a good night. But I can't remember. Did I mention that Angelina ended up being my 300th operator? Thought you might enjoy that one. Anyway, I hope you have a good night. Thanks for stopping by. Gotta get the Angie in before you head out. But I finally had to get her, especially with the IS mod. But let me know if you have any recommendations for her other mods, if I should craft either of those when I have the materials on hand. But hope you have a good one. So which one is that? Let's see. Okay. Yeah, the SP recovery is nice. She already has pretty good like uptime, downtime. So, considering she doesn't attack off skill on skill 2 and skill 3, that might be nice to have. Okay. Well, thanks for the tip. Yeah, no, that's fair. I feel like the mod Y base effect is pretty good. Just the extra slow, especially since like I feel like there's I mostly use her in IS, so I have a bad sense of judging exactly what her attack speed ends up actually being. But I feel like there's a little bit of a pause where like this is the slow on S3 doesn't have 100% uptime necessarily, so I feel like maybe just base effect of mod Y would be nice to have if I'm mostly using S3, but the extra SP regen is also a nice thing to have. That's good to know. That's good to know. I will say, actually, I'm looking at mod X, and maybe that is so Carnelian's S3. If because of the way it ramps, if she has less than 12 extra attack speed, she actually ends up doing less damage than she would normally without any increased attack speed, because it means she doesn't get, because normally she gets an attack in right at the very end, when her attack is like absolutely maxed. So maybe making sure that I actually do get that 7 attack speed breakpoint for her might actually be worthwhile. But because I gotta always use my girl card. But Lynn will remain unbuilt. Yeah, it's usually fine, but it's like I think 12 is the attack speed breakpoint if I remember correctly, but it also is dependent on whether or not she actually has targets in her skill range for the entire duration. And also that's just her third skill when her second skill is actually kind of her better skill anyway, but whatever I can do to make Carnelian look good in clear videos. Tragically underrated, but
Ich hab genau gesehen, was du da hinter deinem Rücken verstecken wolltest. Leitanien braucht Bürger, die ihrem Land in fremden Ländern Ruhm einbringen. Kazimierz dagegen braucht Ritter, die einerseits von erklärter Reinheit sind, aber trotzdem ausreichend unterhaltsame Skandale verursachen. Ich kann verstehen, warum du das gerne
yeah,
liest.
it's like
Aber
S3
diese
is good.
Ausgabe
I think the
von
thing about
Rotwein
S3 is
ist
that like
längst
it's
überholt.
never a bad thing to
Diesem
have.
Käseblatt
Like
gehen nie die Prominenten aus, über die es
I
Gerüchte verbreiten kann.
mad respect for the Day One Carnelian believer. I thought I initially read that as S1, like skill 1 Carnelian believer, and I was like, no, I don't know about that one, but yeah, her S3 is like underrated because I mean it is just a ton of arch damage in a true AoE in a wide range, and that is never like a bad thing to have. It's not Muinar, it's not Wishadel, but it's nice. It's always like a useful and helpful thing to have at your disposal. And then S2 is just kind of goated. S2 is like, because like, though that's the kind of the thing about like units in general. Like, damage can always be power crept, whereas like having other utility is something that like is a little bit harder to just have replaced. Hey, thanks. Man, I am here forever. I should get a. I should make an edit of that image of the "You're Here Forever" with just like Vivi as the placing it, but yeah, S2 is pretty solid. I'll probably get into it a bit more as we, well, I don't know how much I'll be able to actually get into each operator as we go through, but I feel like my niche units I'll probably get into a bit more. But I actually did. I've been trying to get footage for Vivi's mod, and I did end up doing another clear with both S2 and with the rare mod Y use case. But how long have you guys been playing, by the way? I had someone in the comments understandably said, like, made reference to like 2 years not actually being that long, and me being like, and I was kind of there like, but it feels so long. And then I remember that the game's been out for over 5 years, and there are plenty of people who've been playing for the entire duration. But I tragically started playing just after the Texal banner, so I'm missing that certain limited Lupo. But I got the most recent limited Lupo. Man, you have been cursed with multiple limited banner units. Jeez, congrats on approaching 5 years. Jeez, I don't know if there's any game I've played for a total of 5 years. Maybe, I don't know. I've played Apex for a long time. I play Apex Legends off and on, but I don't play that as like religiously these days, especially. But yeah, no, I wouldn't. Honestly, I don't place that much value on limited in general, but like, yeah. Honestly, every day I live in fear of my niche getting another limited operator and having another incident where I, like with Aya Alter, where I went to 300 polls and still only got 2 copies of her. I hate that she does have kind of impactful potential. Well, in terms of AK potentials, which are rarely actually useful, she does have relatively useful talents, at least when you're like heavily optimizing stuff. But oh, day 1 on JP, damn, congrats. I didn't actually know about the games. I think I heard sometime during like the height of the pandemic, I vaguely heard about it, and I think I saw some like fan art. I think some, where's Saria? I think some Saria fan art, and thinking like, oh, that's neat. And then I didn't know anything about the game though, so I kind of just didn't care. I'm gonna be honest, I avoided even like so much as thinking about gacha games for a very long time. I mean, as you can tell, like before I was like 1 year in the game, I was posting like niche nights clears and stuff to YouTube. So I know that like if I'm into a game, I get like very into it, and I was worried that would make it like give me the compulsion to spend money on it, which I don't want to and cannot really do. But a friend told me that Arknights was pretty free to play friendly, and was telling me about like the setting and stuff and the characters, and it finally was like, you know what, okay, I'll give it a go. I don't know if I'll stick with this game. I don't know if I'll stick with it. And then 2 years later, here I am. Also, I'm impressed that anyone's started playing Arknights from the ads, period. I know the JP ads, especially like way back in 2018, probably were not as bad as the global ads are right now. But I want to I want to meet someone who started playing Arknights because of the current global ads that they run, because they are just awful. They are, and I don't think in the entire time I've played, I've been getting like when I'm, not running an ad blocker, the total, which I totally don't do. YouTube, haha, yeah. Um, I keep getting Arknights ads, and I keep being like, man, if I wasn't already into this game, I would probably drop it. It's it's there that bad. Anyway, I think we have enough people here that I'm gonna probably start like easing into the account review and stuff. But yeah, the concept trailers are very good. Like I still go back to the concept trailers sometimes and be like, damn, this rocks. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Yeah, a friend got me in, telling me about characters and the setting, and yeah, they were like, oh yeah, I think you would like this, and turns out they were right. I'm gonna start the account reviewing stuff. I'm gonna start by going through the skins that I have, because that will be relatively quick, because I do not have very many skins for characters other than free ones. And also it means that I don't have to look at skins while we're just like rolling through characters on the operators that I have. But yeah, man, I don't like, this is hardly the most like, why on earth did they do that thing that Yostar has done, but like, why on earth have they done that? What is Yostar doing, guys? Like, please, Griffline, take over from Yostar. Save us. No, yeah. Honestly, like, you're absolutely right, and that's like part of. Honestly, Eric, and I think you're right about like that being part of why. I think that's also part of why Niche Nights is so big, because I feel like it's kind of trying to recreate that feeling of the like when I played CC12 and I wanted to push past Wrist 18, but my like best damage unit was Unectes. Like there weren't people out there making guides for like Unectes damage core, but I pushed to like risk 22 or 23 or something like that, and yeah, figuring that out is still like one of the most fun moments I've had in the game, and like still something that I feel like I'm kind of chasing when I do Niche Nights clears. But yeah, I feel like there's definitely a point. In fact, I've had this conversation kind of with the friend who got me into the game, where we've kind of talked about how like I as a business strategy, gacha is like not great. There's definitely things to be said about the ethics there, but in terms of like just gameplay, it does do interesting things in terms of like, particularly in Arknights, and the way that it pushes you to find your own strategies in some interesting ways. And like it's like I feel like, so I as I mentioned, I started playing right after the Texas Alter banner, who was like at that time one of like the most meta units in the game, and I've had people be like, man, I can't believe you missed that. And in part I kind of am disappointed I missed it, because I like Texas, but I think I actually ended up enjoying the game more because I didn't have the super meta, really flexible, no brain kind of unit. Well, if you really push her, you can definitely use your brain, but like the way that I feel like in casual content most people use her is pretty like so that you don't have to think. But since I didn't have that, but did have like Unectes, I think that was a more interesting sort of way to get me into the game. And honestly, this is an idea that I have for a future stream and maybe turning into a video, but like I kind of want to talk about like what makes a good starter unit in the game, because I feel like everyone talks about like, oh yeah, your first 6-star should be just like this totally busted, trivializes all content. Like you should start with Wishadel because she makes everything easy. Where it's like that's not necessarily the way to like get someone into a game and have fun. Like I don't think, oh, everything is easy and I never have to think or like try is necessarily something that gets people in the game. But anyway, getting sidetracked. I was going to talk about skins. Yeah, I do not get very many skins in this game. Most of the skins I have, by far most of the skins I have, are just the free ones they give you from events. I did, however, as you can see, get a couple event skins from this event. And I've been getting a few more skins than normal lately. In part because yeah, can you tell that I never spend OP on skins pretty much. Also, for the record, it's not like I buy OP, I just save it kind of obsessively. But yeah, I don't buy too many skins. I did buy a couple from the current run. I really like the Jessica skin. It's so good. Her default. So one of the things that I struggle with skins is that oftentimes I'll just like a default look of an operator more. So it's like, why would I buy the skin? But this one's really, really good. Really great effects. Also, Liscarm is, other than Vivi and Liscarm are my two favorite characters. So having Liscarm in the back along with Franka is just too good to pass up. Yeah, it's kind of haphazard with what skins I get and which I don't. It's often like generally I have to like it more than their default look, which is why I didn't get the Rey skin. I like her effects a lot on this skin, but the art, I think I kind of prefer her default look. Her default look is just so good for Rey. So I pass on that. And that's the case for a lot of skins that I kind of have passed on. I have to like, basically I have to like the default look more. I have to like the effects. It has to be an op that I use regularly most of the time. So if it's like a character that I like think has a really great skin, but I never use them, I'm a lot less inclined to actually spend the OP on it. And yeah, and then I just kind of, and then it's just vibes. Then it's like, do I vibe with the skin? Maybe it's a great skin, but maybe it's just like less my thing. I don't know. So it's kind of a toss up. Though I say I'm really conservative with buying skins. I did get Neon skin. I don't have Neon yet. I say yet though because I am planning on, like, I'm gonna be pulling on the U and Blaze Alt banner because I gotta assemble the burn squad. Gotta get the squad for Vivi. And I am planning to go to 200 to spark Neon on that. And this skin is just so good. It's such a great skin. And since I should have her soon, I splurged. I spent the 21 OP, even though it's a full 21 OP. But yeah, I did skip on Chongyuez because I do not have him, and he is not 200 to spark. So much less likely to get him. And also, the second I bought the skin, I would never ever have a chance of getting him as an off-banner limited. Not that I have good enough luck to rely on that anyway, but like it just wouldn't happen. So now that I am skipping it, I'm surely going to get him as an off-limited banner and be like, why didn't I get the skin? But oh well. Also, it's 24, which I forgot, which is also just like so much. But yeah, got Neon skin. I don't have all of my niche ops skins because some of them I just like, I don't need that. I don't vibe with it. Or like I don't have Evenholtz's skin. That's like the big one that I don't have that people point out. I just prefer his default effects. So, yeah, no, that's why I'm saving all my OP is so that I can buy Viviana's skin 20 times when they drop that update. No, they're gonna see. I'm buying. I gotta save for all of the other skins that they're surely gonna give Viviana. They're gonna give her like 20 different varieties of 24 OP skins, and I gotta make sure I'm ready for that. Yeah, the Changyue default look is pretty good. I think I like his default look more than I like his skin, to be honest. His other skin, to be honest. But this one's pretty good. The one that's currently in the shop is pretty good. But I'm also like, again, units that I really like and use all the time. I don't think I would use Changyue all the time. I think he's a neat unit, and I'd probably use him sometimes. But yeah, I did get Lessing skin. I think it's just really funny that he's just out partying. I think it's really funny that the other liches, that the liches got it for him, and also it has like genuinely way better effects than his default look. Next up, free skins. Though I would have considered this one for Diamante because it's a pretty good skin. I actually used Diamante for like the first time since getting this skin like a few days ago. And I was like, oh yeah, that's right, new effects. Pretty good. I have to say, I kind of like Savage's other skin more, but glad she has the second one. She deserves it. I did get Virtuosa's, even though it costs 24 OP. I just use her a lot in like IS and stuff, and it's nice. It's a good skin. Another free. Baseline skin I definitely got. He doesn't really have too dramatic effects. He's a healing defender. That's just, it's not too much flashy stuff that he has going on, but he's had it rough. He deserves his skin. He deserves to be happy in his silly little skin. Yeah, no, I agree. Honestly, I really Lessing alter question mark? No. But like obviously Ermengarde is like maybe the top of my list for like most wanted NPCs. And I feel like, I mean, Lessing's like her brother, so they gotta have some like, they got to include both in whatever event ends up bringing her to be playable. This is a free one, but Vanilla's my favorite 3-star, so I'm glad she got it. Also, it's cute, and there's all the little slugs. Now more collab skins. Or actually, I think this one's the only collab one. I got Marcel, of course. Huge controversial opinion. Dungeon Meshi is good. So yeah, I did definitely want. Yeah, Catastrophe and Messenger event would be really cool. But yeah, I got the Marcel skin. I think it's just a really nice skin. It's just really nice. I like her default look kind of has a few more references to like the anime and the manga, but this is just a really nice skin too. So, and then Crewster for Canada Knights, of course, gotta get the skin. Also, the little friends, the whole squad down there is just so good. Great skin. And then this is just such a good skin. This is like legitimately one of, I think, the coolest looking skins in the game. It's just phenomenal, and Irene's great. So free, but I actually completely forgot this skin existed until like the other day. I had forgotten to equip it even, but Catapult's fun. I did get another Canada Knight skin for Cold Shot. Also, this is. I say that sometimes I like the default E2 more than I like the skin. This is not one of those cases. Her E2 default E2 art is way worse than this. This is definitely my preferred version. And also it has pretty good effects. So Man, I was really thinking hard of getting this one, but I skipped in the end. Kind of because I forgot which day the event ended. But maybe this is one that I'll end up getting because I do like Telopsis a bunch. I do not. Well, for one, I do not have White Pharaoh. Can you blame me? But I also don't have Ayaberry's skin. This is just a case of like, it's fine. It's just it's not really kind of my vibe. So I've kind of passed on it. I will say her riding the sheep in her S2 is great, and like did make me kind of reconsider getting it, but ended up skipping all the same. The free, ended up skipping all these. I don't have Lee belts, and I think his was honestly the best skin of the bunch. Golden Glow, I have her L2D skin, so I didn't really feel like I needed to get a new one, and I honestly think I like. So the problem, yeah, the White Pharaoh event. The other problem that Golden Glow faces, I honestly, I have her L2D skin, which you'll see, but I think her default look is just genuinely better. It's just a better look. It's just really, her default design for Golden Glow is honestly the best look she has. Yeah, and U Official is great, but I didn't end up getting the skin because I don't use her nearly enough. And of course, I got the Amiest skin. Like, how could you not? Like, you have to. Like, they could have charged 30 OP and I would have still done it. Like, you got to do it for Amia. More skipped. Both of Gladia's skins are really good, to be honest, but I think I like the effects on this one more, so I went with that. Also, goated Chuzenji up, so free. Also, another Canada Knights unit. This is something that like only I realize and care about, but Canadian footballs are distinct from, so you can tell what type of a football something is. To the uninitiated, there's Canadian football is distinct from American football. Just barely, but it is. And one of the ways that you can tell is they use slightly different footballs themselves. And on Canadian footballs, the white line goes all the way around, which they do in this skin, implying that Thermex is a Canadian operator. So, oh yeah, I'm super looking forward to the Civilite skin. It's gonna be so good. It's gonna be so good. Like, Chuzenji is just like a great artist to begin with, and there's so much they could do with Civilite. We gotta be coming up on that too, right? Like we got the Babel rerun and stuff, and that was like pretty soon before Civilite released, and they usually do that a year after, kind of deal with free ops, though she was a story op, so maybe a different. I don't know. I'm just hoping for it soon because it's gonna be great. I did get the Ina skin. I have kind of mixed feelings about the. Oh yeah, Civilites is definitely going to be L2D. I kind of have mixed feelings about this. It does a lot of really cool things. I like that she has armor. I like that it has the huge goat. I like that you can see the life bones in the back. But it's also just like really busy. Like there's so much going on. Like kind of too much. Like it doesn't need all these threads coming out of her that just kind of like crowd everything. And honestly, the effects are kind of just a lot as well. So I'm still kind of like, but I got it. And I do use her a fair bit because everyone uses Ines. She's really good. So I still got it. Yeah, that's right. Delphine still doesn't have one. Man, I really, really wonder. Also, Zrabin, honestly, I don't think it's that they paid attention to the football difference and deliberately did it that way. My wholehearted assumption is that they just didn't know, and therefore just did whatever, and ended up being what it was. But Dagda doesn't have one either? Jeez, yeah. Huh. No, did Dagda recently get? I think Dagda recently got one on CM. I think. But anyway, honestly, the better Savage skin, though I still haven't built her. I should. She's famously very mid, but I should build her. I don't have this one. This Chobai skin honestly has the better effects, but I have the other one, so I have the other one. Hey, yeah, hey. Also, I do have Ella's skin. I don't have it equipped right now. Honestly, I switched between her default and her skin. I kind of like her art from her default look more, but the effects of this one more, and I kind of switched between. This is a rare case of me having a skin, but not having actually built the operator yet. I keep meaning to build her, but I keep being out of materials. But I will get to Iana eventually, because she has a really neat kit. More free skins. Honestly, the better Reed skin. This is... I'm amazed that they... Obviously, they released another Reed skin because they knew she's popular and people would buy it. But, like, I'm kind of amazed that they did this one first, because this is just, like, so good. I can't imagine equipping anything else. Not gonna lie. And her spirit, let's go! And her floating skeleton that follows her everywhere. HG, when are you gonna follow up on that lore? I need to know more about this. Please. Free skins, but hey, look, it's the funny, not legally distinct KFC skin. Free events though. Earth Spirit, Meteor. Earth Spirit is my favorite 4-star. I think Meteor is probably my second, so I'm glad that she got another free skin. This is another just like really good line of skins. I don't have Dorothy's, but it's really good. This one's pretty good too. Though I haven't raised Orcas. I do have Fiametta skin. It's really good. Her default looks great too, though. So like, honestly, could switch back and forth. And of course, another amazing Chuzenji off with another amazing skin. So I had to get that one. Yes, here's the other Chobai skin. Again, I think I prefer the look and art of this one, but I prefer the animations of the other one, but I already had this one, so this one it is. Yeah, the Dorothy skin is really good, but her default look is also just great. And also, of course, I got the Franca skin after years and years of waiting. Franca finally got her skin, and it has the tiny Liskarm, the itty bitty wife keychain, and I love that so much. I do have Franca raised. I don't use her as much, especially since like she's not part of any of the niches that I run. But this is such a great skin. Honestly, one of the best. Franca's skin was absolutely worth the wait. Free skin. Free skin. Yeah, here's the Golden Glow LTD one that I have, but honestly, I think her regular look is probably better. But I spent 21 OP on this, so I'm like, I gotta keep it equipped. And then so when I tragically went to 300 pulls just to get 2 copies of Aya Berry, I ended up sparking Gavial. And since that was the debut of this skin, I was like, why not? And got that too. I don't have Charity skin. It's fine. Both this is fine and his default look is fine. Neither are honestly like exceptional IMO, but give him another skin. Give him a better skin. There's of course the even skin that I don't have. has the art is good, but I just prefer the default effects. So I probably would never actually equip this in game. So, but he's got to get another skin. I fully believe that he will get another skin, and honestly, I expect it to be L2D. Like, I feel like the guy they gave 3 modules, like they're going to give him a skin. They're going to give him an L2D skin. They gotta. So I'm holding out for that. We'll see if that happens. This is another one of my absolute favorite skins of the game. Kelso is one of my favorite characters, which I'll talk about more as we go into the operators, but this is such a good skin. This is like maybe my number one. It's tight. There's a lot of really good ones, but this one's just like really, really good. Free skins, free skins. I don't have the Enforcer skin. I think his normal one's fine, honestly. I really like Posse's design, but I find her default E2 to be a little bit busy. And I find that as a result, this kind of just like pops a little bit better in the way that it kind of highlights her colors rather than kind of making everything her colors. And yeah, it's just a nice skin. Nice wintry. Also, when she's stunned, I think she's, if memory serves, she sits on that like little folding chair, which is very funny. Also, this folding chair is so flimsy. What are you doing out there in the wild with this thing? Also, I do not believe she has carried that trunk into the wilderness. There's stuff off screen. This is a set. But yeah, Posse's great. Let's catch up. That is, Eden, that's totally fair. I do have an operator, or maybe 2, that I still like refuse to build because I have just had the worst experiences with them in terms of them showing up on banners when I really didn't want them to. The darkness, in fact, in IS5 with Eben, I don't think I have. Oh, yeah, no, I know what you're talking about, but no, I haven't gotten that, but I should. But more free skins. Free skins. Of course, I'm a Vivi fan, so of course I am also a Neural fan. I sparked Gavial, like I mentioned, because the Aya Berry pulls went so badly. This was deliberate. I did deliberately spark Neural, and I still use her regularly. She's really fun. She's really great, and it's fun having her in a squad alongside Vivi. I did recently spark Rosemontis for 200 pulls on the last banner, but I did not get her skin. Her default look, when you deploy her, she like flies in skateboarding on one of her like arts units things, and that is just too good. Like, you can't, nothing they could give her in another skin unless it's like her hanging out with like Amiya and Ifrit, which would be cute and I would probably get. But like, animations wise, just for that one animation alone, you can't beat it. Yeah, I keep having like, there's a bunch of operators, Darko, that I keep like being like, oh yeah, I'm totally gonna build this operator. Like I mentioned Iana, like I have her skin. I specifically got her skin because I wanted to build her. And then I just keep having other characters that are like, oh shoot, I need to build this for this. Or, oh wow, I got this off banner that I wasn't expecting that I really like. I should build them. And even 2 years into the game, I'm still like scrounging by on materials sometimes, it feels. In fact, prior to this event, I was completely out of sugar, which was wild to me. I had never happened to that, and I never thought it was going to happen. But like, I was at literal 0. And I've had to grind that stage a fair bit to kind of get back. Thankfully, the rates on this event have been pretty good for sugar, but took me a bit. I'm only just now getting to finally also farming grindstones. Anyway, more free. I don't have this Carnelian skin because I have her other one, and her other one is just really, really good. It's really good. Free skin, free skin. The other Gladia skin, which is honestly just like really good, and it's so regal that it like just fits her exceptionally well. She's just like really in control and in the moment and stuff. But I have the other skin, and I don't think I've gotten 2 skins for any character yet. I don't think that's happened. When I was gonna say if, but when Vivi gets her next skin, which will again be a 24 OP, you know, new amazing voice lines in English and German, I will get 2 skins for Vivi. But where's Roberta? No, I think Roberta, I think slightly was either just as I started and I wasn't able to clear it, or just before no, I think it was before I started. I started playing. Where were the skins that were introduced with the Textile event? I don't remember which those were. Might have been these, honestly. I think these were what came with the Textile event. So everything before this is from before I started playing the game. Which is why I don't have like a number of the event ones. Some of them have like come back in various ways. This is a like one of the like mini event record restoration things. This is the what's it called? The April Fool's Day event. But yeah, no Roberta skin, unfortunately. Though it's a really good skin. I kind of wish I did have it. I hope they give us a way to get it in the future. But yeah, I really, really hope they give her a 24 OP skin. Like, legitimately, like, obviously I'm biased. Like, huge shocker. But she also just has, like, her Japanese, her English, and her German are all, like, 3 exceptional voice lines. So, like, her CN and Korean might also be, I just haven't heard them. But like, to get more of that would just be so good. And honestly, they come on, HG, get on it. Let's see what else. Yeah. Phantom skin, which I do actually have Phantom built. I built him for his IS mod, and it is a really fun mod. Though now there's a whole other Phantom, so. Ooh, yes. Dusk. I do have Dusk skin. I do really like this one. Is another one where I kind of like go back and forth between what I have equipped, because her default look is really, really good, but the effects on this skin are just really good, really good. Even I would lose my mind over that. I would like, no joke. Even just one of those, I would be like so thrilled about. But if they do all of those in one event, I would be out of my mind. I still think it's going to be one of the Empresses. I still think we're going to get, I think it's Elisa Lotta, the one with the shield. I still think that she's going to be, the first 6-star arts protector. That is my bet. But I could definitely see Ermengarde through a Litanian event. Though I could also, the thing about Ermengarde is she could be in like, she's showed up in the main story. She's showed up in IS5 related stuff. She's showed up in Litanian. Who knows whatever event brings her, where that will be set. But I would love it to be Litanian. I don't have any of the other Mudrock skins. I kind of really like her default look, and the skin for Mudrock that's coming with her with integrated strategies is probably my favorite of her skins, to be honest. And I'm really looking forward to that, because I think I'll be equipping that when it arrives. But we do have, of course, absolutely excellent Carnelian skin. The little creatures around her look a little bit silly, which is fine and fun, honestly. That's not a complaint. But great effects, great skin. Big fan of that one. More free. More free. That actually might be my last purchase, my earliest purchased one. More free. Ah, no, it's never mind. So I got Schwartz as my very first top op tag, and I got her while this skin was in the shop. And I don't use Schwartz that often these days, but I was just really excited to get my first top op, so I got her skin right away. And of course, Liskarm. Liskarm is, along with Vivi, my other favorite operator, so I do have this skin of hers. Free. Ah, yes. And honestly, this is a controversial opinion, I know it, but this is the best Zarya skin. Like, this is just so good. I know everyone kind of loses it for her, like, prison guard one, but this one's just really good. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised they didn't rerun that Thorn skin. That feels like it would just make sense. Maybe they were worried it would confuse people since it does look a lot like his normal, his altar. But yeah, I really would like them to do more with Carnelian. They've really tragically just left. It feels like they're leaving so much on the table. Like, she doesn't even have an English voice yet. Like, come on, she deserves at least that much. But more free to love this skin, but I do really like it. The bread is just fun, and her little robot and stuff. Telopsis was actually also one of my very first units. I think she was one of the ones I got from one of the selectors, and I have used her pretty consistently ever since. Free, yeah, and that's it. Yeah, Thorns has his, he more recently got like a pirate skin, but he also has like the fashion shopping skin, which is fine, I guess. I don't know. I'm also not like a major Thorns head here, so. But we got to get onto the operators. We gotta keep this thing moving. Oh, geez, I just realized we're like already an hour in, and I thought that was gonna be the quick part. So we gotta keep going. Just gotta have some of my tea. Of course, we gotta start by going over Vivi. She is my fave. She is the like face of my channel. She is just so good, and her mod is just spectacular. I will go into her kit a bit more. I'm currently making a video about it, and I will be going into more detail then. TLDR, just to give a little bit of Vivi propaganda, you need S3 masteries. Obviously, you need her mod. That everyone's talking about her mod right now, but you need S3 masteries. It is not a good skill without masteries, and then it becomes a very good skill with masteries. Like, it affects the rotation hugely, which makes it ramp up so much more slowly, and it also affects her damage way more than an average like mastery gain. So yeah, if you are using Vivi, which you should be, absolutely give her S3 masteries. You should also give her S2 masteries, because S2 also gains a lot from its masteries. It takes 5 seconds faster to charge and lasts 5 seconds longer, and also gets like, I think it's like 25%. Like, it goes from 30 to 40% plus attack. It gets more defense. I think the crits get better. It's really good. No RW. This is the one that I'd be like, yeah, don't worry about it. She gets almost nothing from the masteries on this. So even if you are coping with using this skill, you'll probably be fine without it. But I say this even as like a Vivi head. Like, I don't use this skill. I really don't use this skill, unfortunately. But that is, so it goes for like 99% of 6 stars. Their S1 is just, you use it until you have something better. And fortunately for Vivi, she does have a lot that is better. So anyway, Vivi is great. She's fully built. I Getting her last potential was a bit of a struggle. Yeah, no, I'm kind of with you on not being a big fan of AFK skills. Like when I play the game, I want to play the game. I don't want to just like if I just want to sit and watch, I run an auto deploy. But I kind of just prefer like that like okay, because it's relevant to the conversation, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. Irene, unironically, like probably my favorite lane holder in the game right now. It is genuinely like her S2 becomes so spammable with her new mod, refunding like 3/4 of its SP whenever you kill an enemy with it. And it's just like constant. It's so fun. It's like the anti AFK lane holder. So if you're like kind of tired of just like AFK lane holders, you want something that can still do the job but is a lot more active. Irene is so good for that. She is so much fun. Like her mod didn't make her like power creep Dagenbrecher with her S3, but instead it gave her something new to do, and it's a really interesting thing that she does now. There's a oh man, what is the stage? Shoot, there's that one stage in like chapter 7, 6 or 7, I think, that starts really fast and has like 1,000,000 dogs, and she can like solo it. Just because of how much you can spam this ability. It's a really, really goated clear. I should also, yeah, I do only have S2 masteries. I should also give her S3 masteries, to be honest. I also, especially now with the upcoming IS only mod for oh my gosh, I am blanking on her name. Arketo. Arketo helping out. I know Arketo's IS mod actually is best paired with Dagenbrecher S2 for like permastalls or with Monster. But I also kind of want to use it with Irene because Irene's just fun. Oh, that's actually really fitting. I didn't realize you could yeah, 7/4 Irene can solo with her S2 and her new mod. Because she can just spam it like wild. It's really good. It's really funny. It like highly recommend looking up that clear. Like it is one of the most fun clears I've ever seen. And again, I really like that they didn't like it would have been cool if they like I don't know, like maybe it wouldn't have been cool if they power crept Dagenbrecher because Dagenbrecher is already so powerful. So something that power creeps her is like would be just a joke. Yeah, Arketo IS mod doesn't just affect snipers; it affects all attack recovery, which is kind of wild. Also, that's on top of her having like not quite like basically Fartooth range, but with Fartooth S3 range, but with three wide as well. But yeah, Irene, really great lane holder, really fun lane holder. Highly recommend building her. But yeah, anyway, Vivi, really great. Yes, I don't do S1 masteries, do S2 and S3. Getting her to max pot was so I'm not a whale. I get like the monthly pass, and I will when I can justify it, and depending on like how I'm doing it, that when it comes around, I'll get the just wait for the Dagenbrecher IS mod. So actually, I do think they should give. I think Irene IS mod would be really fitting. I don't know what it would do. Maybe it gives her corrosion damage, or maybe that's just a Delta mod. But I think Irene would deserve one, especially since she is like has Seaborn. She's meant to fight Seaborn, and there's an IS that's specifically around Seaborn. Yeah, I used royal tokens for Vivi as well. I got unbelievably lucky on her debut banner, and within 100 pulls got Virtuosa and 3 Vivianas. And then I used no, I got yes, and 3 Vivianas. Then I used 2 sets of royal tokens, one from the red swords, one from the CC shop, and then the last one, I pulled on a standard banner that also had Evenholtz, and it took me like 200 pulls. Still, no, Dagenbrecker doesn't actually get an IS mod. I was joking about like them making her even more ridiculously powerful, but I wasn't super clear about that. But yeah, the last one was a struggle to get. It took me like 200 pulls on a standard banner. Though that's how I got Posy, which was nice, and I also got like a stupid amount of Evenholtz potentials from it, so it's wasn't a total loss. But I was really hoping to get that last potential a little bit faster. Her potentials, like I would never recommend actually going for potentials, particularly as myself, someone who doesn't like just buy potential, doesn't buy pulls like that. I got lucky enough that in the end I only spent like 300 pulls total, which is still like a darn good amount to spend on a max bot unit. I had more than 100 pulls at the time, but that would have gotten me to her first talent, and at that point I was like, I'm not pushing my luck any further. This is already like the best it could possibly be. Because I knew I'd be able to get her 2 more potentials with the tokens. I'd get her first talent, and the 1 DP cost was like, again, negligible. In retrospect, I probably should have just kept pulling on that banner to get the last one I needed instead of doing worse odds on the standard banner. But the standard banner did also have Evenholtz, so it kind of worked out, and I got Posy as an off banner on that, so I can't really complain in the end. Her potentials are weirdly now that she has her burn damage, they do actually affect breakpoints at a couple like HP values and stuff, and res values. It's not at all significant enough that like anyone should pull for spend ridiculous amounts of money to get it, or ridiculous amounts of pulls either, if she's not like your absolute favorite character or something. Though she should be your absolute favorite character, so what are we talking about? But anyway, but yeah, really, really great unit. She was highly underrated before her mod, and now she's just like really, really good. Would I say she's like super meta? No, not necessarily, but I think she's incredibly strong and is one of those units that like can fit into just about any roster. If you have a well-built roster and already have meta units, like, well, you don't need to worry about meta units anyway, so build who you want. But also, if you're like newer to the game and don't necessarily have like your Wishadels and your Texalts and all that, like, she will just be a phenomenal unit. But like I said, I should be moving. My other favorite unit, Liskarm. I don't talk about her as much because my channel is Lytania Knights focused, and I mostly focus on my niche, and she is not part of that. But she is just a great unit. Her SP charging is obviously, like everyone knows, is really, really good and really, really fun. I will say she got a really good module. She got, like, no one uses her skills. I get that, but her SP charging, like, is 60% better basically, which is like, I don't think there's another unit like, okay, it's Leitza, I think, got better SP charging than that, but like to go from like regular to plus 60% chance to restore 1 additional SP to this unit is a lot. And no one uses her for her skills, so it's just for sickos like me who actually use her S2. But it's a really good skill, and if you pair it with her S1, it makes her even more tanky for like much better uptime. All around, really, really good. And also invis reveal, because the SP recharge wasn't enough. So great all around. Also, just like, I really like her as a character. Just like with Vivi, like, I liked her as a character, like they both have really good kits that I really enjoy using, but I like them first and foremost as a character. Uh, Read the Black Seal manhwa if you haven't. It's really, really good. And yeah, anyway, Liskarm's great. You should raise her. You should use her. I don't have her at max pot because she has been in Colonel Banner for most of the time I've played. I got her on my very first 10 pull. She was one of my like very first units ever. Other than Amiya, she was my first 5-star. And the rest of her potentials I think have come from recruitment. So I've gotten lucky enough to get her a few times through recruitment, but still got to get her to max pot. But anyway, continuing on, Psylocke is another one that I really like. I almost had so I only have stage 1 mod because I haven't really needed any more. Honestly, I didn't even need stage 1 mod. I could have absolutely skipped stage 1 mod, but I just like her, so I wanted to have at least stage 1. Embarrassingly, despite her being a character that I really, really like, she was on M4 for a long time. Both of S1 and S3 were on M2, which was just maybe not my best resource decision. But I finally invested in both of those skills, and it's been like both of them are quite good. She is, I still think, highly underrated. I really enjoy her in the story for one, but she's also like is quite good in a lot of scenarios, and like she doesn't have quite Inez's level of flexibility, but that's also just like kind of a bonkers level of flexibility and stuff to have packed into one kit on one unit. But she has quite a bit packed in that she can do, and yeah, recommend checking her out. She's also a lot of fun. Also, like, she is, I think, by far the most fun of any of the Flakebearer Vanguards, because mostly they just press a button and you get way too much DP. And also, like, the Vanguard or Flakebearer DP is actually, outside of, like, contingency contract, is basically always overkill and completely unnecessary. RW, her M3s on both S1 and S3 are like really expensive if memory serves. They have like kind of stupid requirements to finish, which is I think kind of why when I stopped at that for both of them, I think it was I was just out of materials for it. But yeah, great unit. She's a lot of fun. Also, like, she is a legitimate, her S2 is definitely usually her less used skill, but it's worth noting that it has like Myrtle S1 levels of DP generation if memory serves when it's at M3. So like, as much as people talk up Myrtle, like, you get that, and you get defense boost, and you get HP restore, and you get the attack speed boost and stuff. So this is your Psylocke propaganda minute. Anyway, Saria with probably my most embarrassing masteries. She is, as I've heard, I can't remember who I heard say this, but like an Australian M9, which is to say it's M8. I don't use her S2 very much. Honestly, I mostly use her for her S3 these days, but she is a really cool operator and a really cool character. She was one of my early favorites as well. The first banner I saved for was Reed after I started, and I got both Reed, who I will talk about in a sec, as well as Saria, and then Saria as an off banner first, which I was like thrilled about because I was already like working on saving up. The heal range is bigger too. You're right. But yeah, I was already working on saving for gold certs to get Saria, and then I just got her as an off banner, and I was like so thrilled. Her mods are also kind of in a weird state for me. I have level 1 and level 2. This one, I think, this is the SP one, and the next one just benefits Rhinelab Ops, which is a weird level 3 addition, so I haven't bothered with that. And this I've mostly done just to get for when I need her to be a little bit more tanky, but I mostly use Mod Axe. I should really finish her M9. I really should, but one of these days I will have materials and I will finally finish building every unit that I want to build, and that will be lovely, but that probably won't happen until at least another how many years. We'll see. Hey, Teddy. Thanks for showing up. Hey. Truly goated. You're right. Also, it feels two healing healing defenders are probably honestly my favorite subclass. They're just always really useful, and they all happen to be characters that I really like. Or at least a lot of them are. I really like Saria. I really like Shu. I quite like Blemishine. I also really like, of course, my boy Baseline. But yeah, I really like Shu. Her story is so great. And her kit's just it's stupid levels of cracked, but it's really fun. It's one of those like super meta kits that's like, okay, it's fun though, so I will still use it. But her teleporting is just really great. Her sewed styles are really great. This is maybe the most lucky I've gotten on any banner. So it took like 50 or so pulls to get Shu, and I wasn't necessarily going for Joie Le, because I didn't necessarily need him, and I had seen so many people be like, oh, he does Viviana's thing better than Viviana, and I was like grumpy about that. And I was also saving pulls, so I was like, okay, 50 pulls, whatever, that's great. One Shu is enough. And then I got on the free pulls, the daily pulls, I got another Shu, and then another Shu, and then also a Joie Le. So now I have pot 3 Shu, and it was like kind of ridiculous. I'd never have that happen to me on free pulls, on the free daily pulls, but it happened for a character that I genuinely really like and really enjoy using, so can't complain. Honestly, should maybe give her M9, but I don't use her S2 very much. Dust, yes, absolutely another baseline enjoyer. Baseline is really great, and everyone should race him. But I will get to him when I have him like full maxed. He's really good. Honestly, he's one of my most recommended 5 stars to build. He's great. But Dusk was my first ever limited character. My first limited banner was on the Chongyue banner, but I was skipping it because Chobai, and I wanted to pull a little bit on Chobai because I thought she is really neat, and I was right, she is really neat. And I really wanted to pull on the Yato banner. I know it's cringe, she's a meta unit, whatever, but I really like Monster Hunter. And when I started the game and found out like, oh, there's a Monster Hunter collab coming up, I was pretty excited about that. So I didn't pull on the Chongyue banner beyond the free pulls and then finishing Pity. But when I finished Pity, much to my surprise, I got a Dusk. And I was so, like, genuinely really thrilled about that. Why I'm not totally free to play. I get the monthly pack, and I get the I sometimes get the 6-star selector, but like that's it. I don't like buy OP. I don't buy like monthly polls and stuff like that because I think this game is better enjoyed when you're not spending stupid amounts of money. I think part of the point of this type of game is to have things to look forward to, and if you always have everything at your disposal, I think that kind of defeats the purpose, to be honest. But I've still managed to get lucky enough to have most of the characters that I want, so but yeah, I got Dusk as an off-banner limited on my first ever limited banner, and I was like beyond thrilled. I immediately got her skin. Her skin's great, though as I said, I switched between it and her default look because her default look's pretty good. Her skill 3 is one of my favorite skills in the game. it's like one of the like absolute highest skill ceiling skills in the game. And that doesn't necessarily mean it's the best skill in the game, but it's just like the things that people who are good at it can do with it are kind of wild. I highly recommend looking at Caster Knight's clears that use her because there are some wild stalls with that. I think H10, no, H11 for Caster Knight's clear with her was for a long time maybe my favorite like niche Knight's clear I'd ever seen. Um, but yeah, it's really good. Uh, Also, she's getting an IS mod. Her normal mod that she has now is quite good for her. It's a huge improvement. Um, and if you've only ever used her without her mod, I recommend trying it out. But her IS mod coming up is really intriguing. It's similar in some ways to Rosemontis's. I think it's going to have a little bit lower of a power ceiling than Rosemontis's, but I think it's going to be really fun to use, and I'm really looking forward to it. Also, like everyone forgets that Dusk S1 has the same or at times better DPS, like a deal is it is the same or better at dealing with crowds than Aya S2, which is like kind of tragic. Like everyone hypes up Aya and her S2, but like Dusk S1 is also just as good, if not better, in a lot of situations. Yeah, she costs a bit more DP, but like with her mod, it's really not that bad. Anyway, Cal. Okay, I have a bit more to say about Cal too. So I have it arranged so that my favorites are coming up first. So hopefully hopefully things will get a little bit faster as we get to the rest of my units. But Cal was my first 6-star. When I started the game, Cal was like the only character that I knew by name before playing, and she happened to be on the standard banner at the time, and I was like not super committed to playing the game yet. I wasn't like, my friend had gotten me into it. I was trying it out. I was enjoying it, but it was Cal that really like made the game stick for me. For one, it was just really exciting to get a character that I knew and like thought was neat. And she's been, I love her in the story. She's so great. And also the other thing about Cal was that she was the first one that the unit that I played where her kit was just like, oh, they're doing this? Like I played her, I got her and was like, oh, okay. I'm excited to have her, really excited to have a unit that I like actually have a connection to and know by name. But she's a medic, so she'll probably not be that exciting. And then I placed her and was like, wait, what's this extra thing on my deploy bar? And oh, she has this like spine monster that she can deploy anywhere. That's so cool. This is a medic and they can do that. And it was like my first like taste of them being like really creative with operator kits. And like from that moment on, I was basically hooked on the game, on the gameplay side of things. And like it was like, oh, I have to find out what other weird things they do. Like how else do they get creative things with things? And yeah, so Cal was like a huge part of me getting to the game and still one of my absolute favorite characters. And as I said when I was going over skins, maybe my favorite skin of the game. It's really good. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, her summons can block enemies outside of her range, but the point of the skill is to stall. So like it doesn't matter that much. Like she's not there to solo DPS an entire stage, but she can just stall just about anything in a way that like we didn't really have until like Nymph came along. It's really nuts what she can do. And yeah, I am hoping for you to come home. I am, as a big time Viviana fan, really hoping that both you and Blaze come so that I can like complete the burn damage squad and really bring that up to the next level. But hopefully I'm also planning on, I'm also planning on with you planning to spark Nian on that banner. So I will be likely going to 200. So I really hope I get them both in 200. I went for 200 on the Lapland banner to get Rosemontis, and I did not get Vulpes Folklea, which I guess is the better one to miss out on because it meant I got the limited, which is harder to get later. But it was a little disappointing to not end up with both, and I'm hoping the U banner goes a little bit better in that regard. Yeah, and like you said, RW, you can just like retreat it and then replace it. But I don't know. I think I'm really looking forward to her IS mod giving her everyone her summons. I think that'll be really neat and just playing around with that a lot. But yeah, as I said, huge fan of Cal, still a huge fan of Cal. I really like her in the story. I really like how she's executed. I really like the way that she's really standoffish and hostile towards the Doctor at the beginning, and you're like, what is going on with that? And then like you get to things like Babel, and you're like, oh, she's actually this is her being kind to you. The Doctor kind of deserved worse than how she treated you. And I think it's really great. She's a really deep, interesting character. But we should keep moving. Speaking of why heal if you can just kill an enemy, Reed. I also love Reed. She's great in Chapter 9. She's great in her event. And she also just has a really fun kit. She was another one of those ones after I got Cal, I was like, oh, what other creative things they do with their kits? And then lo and behold, there was another medic who could also just like go kind of nuts with damage. And I was like, ooh, tell me more. Also, she has just a phenomenal design. She's really great. She's a great kit, great character, great design, and she was the first unit that I saved up pulls for after I started playing, and still use her regularly. I mean, everyone uses Reed pretty much because she's really good, but yeah, she is. Even when they inevitably power creep her, as they always do, I will keep using her because she's great. One of my faves still to this day. Ascalon was prior to her release one of like up there with Ermengarde and my most wanted NPCs to come out of NPC jail. Really, really cool character. And man, do you ever think about how like everyone got to say goodbye to Teresa at the end of, but Ascalon did not. Also she is another one of those ones that's absolutely meta, but just like really fun. Like her S2 is so good and just like in a really, really fun and really useful way. Also her skin that's coming up is so good. Having that many to E2, it really helps having the daily or the monthly pack thing. The monthly card has really helped because it gives me a bunch of extra sanity to use. I've also like I don't think I've skipped a day of playing in my time. So that like I'm not capping on sanity. I even play SSS. I'm one of 3 people to actually play SSS, though I'm not necessarily an expert on it. I will say year 1, I feel like the further you go, it kind of snowballs more and more. So like the longer you play, it's not just like linearly. You have 30 in year 1 and you have 30 in year 2. You're also like gaining things faster as you go. But yeah, it definitely helps. I have gotten some profile icons. I actually did get the Nian Bean profile icon because I like Nian a lot and it's fun. And I have occasionally gotten other things. You hear right now the audio from the what's it called? The Dungeon Meshy background that you could have bought. But I try to be pretty on top of like I think one of the like I don't think it's inherently bad to spend money on gacha, but I think you have to be really careful with it. And I try to be very, very careful with how I budget things. And right now, especially with just other like expenses and stuff that I've had going on in life, I've kind of just like not been spending anything. I've been tightened down on that further. But hey, thanks for showing up. Oh man. Anyway, baseline good. Baseline good. Have a great day. 3 years and only 15 E2. That is impressive. I'm curious if you're like logging in every day and stuff. No, it's I got you, Darko. You're good. I'm curious. Are you like max leveling? Are you like M9ing? Like what are you doing for masteries and stuff? Are you playing every day? Are you like finishing out event shops and stuff? Because like yeah, like you're right, as Rabin. You gotta be strategic, and you gotta be like I feel like that's part of why I'm so like I have a ton of OP on hand right now because I'm very specific about my saving. I never pull for a character unless I know I have enough pulls on hand that I can like be sure that I will get them. Um, because I don't want to find myself in a situation if of where like I don't want to find myself in a situation where I've tossed a ton of pulls in, I didn't get the character, and I feel like spending money is the only way to do it. So I am very careful about making sure that I like very carefully planning my polls and stuff. Like I have spreadsheets that I maintain to keep track of that and stuff. But yeah. Anyway, Ascalon, I do have a finish. Ascalon was actually speaking of. It helps though when I'm very careful about pulling plants, and then they go better than I actually wanted. I could have anticipated. I think I got Ascalon in like 30, and then in the 10 pull that she showed up in, I got 2 copies of her. So that was nice. Crown Slayer E2, let's go. I know, another broken fast redeploy. No, but Crown Slayer's great. I really like her as a character. She's another one of those characters that like also just has like a phenomenal design. I might get her starter mod just to level 1 for the DP refund, because that's nice to have, but I am waiting for her second mod for the full max. I total respect to you. I'd strongly consider her M9, even though her first and second skills are listen, I also got like I had no full trust. Yes, you're right. But I got Lapland in the event, but I also sparked Respontus. I also got 2 other 6 stars as off banners. I also realized as I was assigning them to trust in the base that I realized that I didn't have what's his name? I didn't have Tin Man at even 100 trust, because usually I run them during their event, but like he came from IS, so he didn't have an event. So yeah, it's I have been desperately trying to get a few ops up to max trust, and Crown Slayer is still unfortunately in progress. She will get there though. I'm not super rushing her trust farming, in part because I use her all the time in my base now, so she's just passively kind of getting it over time. And I do actually use her when I'm playing casually, so like she's gonna get more trust from that too. Yeah, I do think the numbers aren't great. I do think her stun and her crowd control makes her way better than everyone makes her out to be. I think her S1 and S2 are S2 is a gimmick, and S1 is kind of like a side grade to like red. But S3, the crowd control from it, even without the mod, is actually pretty solid. It's like I went in expecting her to be like absolutely unusable, and it's like no, she's actually pretty good. She's in a really good archetype, and she has solid crowd control on a fast redeploy, which is just a very solid thing to have. I see her in a similar way to like I see Carnelian, in that like she's not going to break the game, but she's going to be a nice unit to have with you no matter what stage you're going to. That is actually a fun way to do it. I do kind of want to try like the like mega buff S2 to see just how high she can get on a hit, but I haven't done that yet. We'll see. Yeah, why that would be part of it. It's like you really have to the man, the sometimes I think about how much sanity I have spent on certain operators and how much of a time investment that has reflected and get kind of like, wow, maybe that wasn't the best decision about it. Case in point, Diamante. I have spent way too much sanity on this very mid operator, but yeah. I'm not anti-meta. I will say I have Weeshadel. I have built Weeshadel. I don't have a high horse to sit on. I do think that outside of like really high level content, I don't bother using units like Weeshadel. Like I use Weeshadel in like max difficulty or not contingency contract and integrated strategies. Um, I don't so I do use them in cases where like I'm not admittedly I'm not clearing D15 IS4 ending 4 with just Crown Slayer, for instance. But I try to like I find the game more fun when you have to find your own strategies and have to really sort of think on your feet and get creative with your solutions to how you're taking out enemies and how you're dealing with stages. So because of that, I tend to focus more so on non-meta operators. But I do think it's always like a decent idea to have some meta operators for when you do want to push more difficult content and you do really want to push past like stuff like high difficulty IS. I will continue to shill Carnelian as a legitimate option for high difficulty IS4, but it's also good to have like Weeshadel and stuff. Jeez, Weeshadel and Logos in one 10 pull. That is wild. Jeez, I have that. Congratulations on that. Wasn't me, unfortunately, but I'm gonna guess Logos, to be honest. I actually sadly have not built Logos. He is another case of I just don't have the mats for everyone that I want to build, but he is definitely on the list for stuff to use. Yeah, yeah, I feel like if you can just like what I look for is I want every stage to have a different solution. If every stage has the same solution, then it always feels the same and gets boring. So I like I do a lot of niche nights, specifically because it kind of forces me like when I'm just using Litanian Knights is the main niche that I use. So when I'm just using the Litanian operators, I have to really think about how I'm approaching the stage and like maybe this has like units enemies that just do not match up well with them or something like that. And I have to like I streamed the current events like starter stages, not even the EX stages, and I actually had a couple stages where I failed, in part because I was talking to chat, but in part because like it had a bunch of aerial units and I don't have any anti-air snipers, so I had no one that was like specifically prioritizing attacking them. So I had to like rethink, oh, okay, how am I doing this? How am I going to take them out? I also don't have much AoE, so I couldn't necessarily take them out at the same time as taking out other units. But yeah, I like investing in non-meta ops. Again, I have like Shu, Cal, Ascalon, Reed, all of these are meta ops in some way or another. I have like, well, Aya is part of my niche, so I have an excuse for her. I do have like Dagenbrecker. I do definitely have meta units, and I do use them to some extent when I'm doing high difficulty content. But in terms of like everyday stuff, I like pushing into high difficulty content as much as possible with other operators as well, because again, like I get all these different operators because I want to use them. If I just like spent a ton of polls and then just like sat on a unit and never used them and just used Wishadel, like what would be the point? So. Oh yeah, I already showed that. I bought Jessica's skin. Of course I did. It has Franca and Liscarm in it, and Liscarm's my fave. And also I do love Jessica, and she has a great kit. Anyway, speaking of non-meta units, my only other M9 is Lessing. Viviana, I got to M9 because she's my favorite. Lessing, I do quite like. He is so funny. A number of the Litanians are incredibly funny characters in that have absolutely no intention of being funny. I actually chose my niche almost entirely because of Viviana. Viviana was announced. I was kind of trying to decide. I tested out a few things in advance. I tried Defenders only actually first, but I couldn't quite settle on that. I decided that I wanted to do a faction-based niche because I wanted them to have like story connections to each other rather than just be like random defenders. And then they announced Viviana, who was my most wanted NPC to become playable, and I was like, oh, well, that's really good. So I'll do that. The other thing that I really liked about the niche was that it had a lot of operators that generally aren't seen as being particularly good. And I really like trying to play the game. Like I said, I like playing the game in ways that like really force you to think on your feet and get creative with your solutions. And like, this wasn't a niche that had like Muinar in it. So I couldn't just like, well, I'm going to use Muinar on every stage because he's super strong. So instead I have to like think about how I'm approaching them. Like Aya is in the niche as well as Aya Alter. They're both very strong units, but they're not quite solo carry units in the way that like some more modern meta units are. But yeah, so that was what got me towards it, and yeah, and I just haven't looked back since. I've tried out some other ones. I play Viviana's artist is Shuzenji, and I do play some niche knights of just those of that artist. So Civilite Eterna is another character in that, Gladia. And I do play kind of a joke niche that I came up with called Canada Knights, which is all characters that could plausibly be considered having lived in or being from Canada. But Viviana's my, and Litanian is my main way. Oh man, I'm so glad that someone else is building Lessing out there. Lessing is an M9, less so because he's my absolute favorite unit, though I do quite like him as I like all of my niche ops. But because all of his skills have like pretty distinct use cases in a way that like in a full roster, you probably don't need S1, M3. You can probably use him for either his S2 or S3, but he is my only source of physical damage in my niche. And his S3 is on a relatively speaking long cooldown. His S2 is an on deploy skill, so I have to retreat him in between. So this was my only option for consistent physical damage, so I have him at M3 for that. I have a confession to make. I don't have his second mod yet. My plan was to do this on stream, and I keep having other things to do on stream, so I keep having like just not getting to it. I was hoping to do this to get it after I finish going over my operators and stuff for the account review. However, this is already taking longer than I expected, so I probably won't end up doing that today, but maybe next time on stream, or maybe I'll just get it because I kind of have some ideas of stuff I want to try with it. But we'll see. He will get it. I actually have the mats on hand to build it right now, but have not built it yet because I have been saving it, but it'll get there. Yeah, his S1 is solid, especially since it's only 2 SP cost. Like the M3 also gets it down from 3 SP to 2 SP, which is like a pretty significant jump. And yeah, his high base attack plus, I mean that's his base attack plus he has his talent that like increases it further. both from his trait change on this mod as well as the talent change on the mod. So he gets like an extra ton of attack. So, and then you make it 290% of his attack, and it's like real big numbers. Like I think it was only difficulty 9 on IS3, but I had him solo high more because he was just hitting like for 10,000 plus a hit if you get the right setup and the right relics. But yeah, really fun unit. I think he's really underrated. His S3 is really solid. It's like S2 and S3 are niche skills, don't get me wrong, but I think they have enough of a niche that like they're worth using. And like especially like I'm not opposed to having meta operators, but I think it's kind of silly to only go for meta operators because once you have like Wishadel, like do you need 11 or 12 other hyper meta operators in a squad? No. like and even high difficulty content tends to be geared towards highly specialized things rather than just overwhelming power. So even if you are building for like high level integrated strategies or high level contingency contract, it's not just necessarily a matter of getting the highest DPS skills. Having things like Blessing being able to go to like Water and Fire Union and use his S2 against something and survive even though he has 2 Pompeys attacking him because of his damage reduction is a useful niche at high level. Him being able to reject status effects is a useful niche even at high level. You're not going to be using him all the time, but when there is a need for him, it'll be nice to have him. I do still use 4 stars. I mean, for one, with IS5 making them free to recruit, they've just been super handy to have. My niche, unfortunately, only has 1 4-star in Earth Spirit, so I like when I'm playing a niche, I don't use that many 4 stars, but yeah, legitimately, like yeah, that is a. I haven't actually used him on the ending 2 boss. I should though. You're right, but yeah, last night is such a funny boss fight. But anyway, yeah, build your Lessing. He has a great skin too. It's funny. It's good. He's a good kit. Carnelian, another unit that I will very strongly defend. Her S2 is honestly her main skill, but absolutely needs masteries. It's very similar to like what I was saying with Viviana, if you were here for that. Viviana has a pretty bad S3 before you give it masteries and a really good S3 once you give it masteries. When you have this at M3, Carnelian's S2, she can like permabind targets for the duration once it's overcharged. Without it being M3, the enemies just keep walking and it doesn't do anything. So this needs its masteries, but once you have masteries, it's really good. Her S3 is also just solid. It's like always useful. Just having a huge amount of AoE arch damage is just never a bad thing to have. Not like, sure, it's not meta or whatever, but it's solid. She's also like really good in IS4. Highly like before the last expansion for IS4, Carnelian was my go-to max risk or max difficulty starter. Though she struggles a bit more with it's not no more than 4. Whatever, yeah, I think it's no more than 4 or whatever. The starting one that has like the refraction enemies. She's not very good at that specific stage. So she's not my starter anymore these days, but I still use her and I still take her when I'm going through ending, particularly when I'm going through ending 4, but she's pretty nice for ending 1 as well. And just like generally good to have. She's great in IS4. You should build her for that. Yes, the good Carnelian skin. The other one's fine. I have no issues with it. And her default E2 is really good. But this is just such a good skin that I had to go with that one. And of course, Evenholz. I just made a whole video going over why I think Evenholz is great, so I will go over this quickly. I have him at pot 5 completely by accident. I have only deliberately pulled for him once, and then I got him once for gold certs, and then when I was trying to get Vivi's last potential, I got him 3 more times. So I have him at pot 5, and when he comes in the shop again, I will have him at max pot. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. The whole archetype is great. Like I got Lynn as an off banner on the Lapland altar banner, and on principle, because I like Carnelian so much, I'm not immediately planning on building Lynn. But Lynn has like another one of the best skins in the game. It's really good. But yeah, even really great unit. If you want to find out why, go watch my video. Shameless plug. His mods are actually really funny. His mod Y is still like has use cases. His mod X almost entirely got made obsolete by his Delta mod. His Delta mod is just really good and is 99% of the time the one to go with. But his mod Y can be pretty fun too for some AoE shenanigans. Yeah, like I said when I was going through skins, I don't have his skin because I prefer the default effects, but surely he will get another skin. So Aya, another one of my niche units, generally seen as like the one meta pick from my niche, other than her other self. She's kind of overrated these days. People still talk about her like she's one of like the best units in the game, but she's like, and she's still good, don't get me wrong. But she is just not quite the solo carry that she once was. She still has a ridiculous amount of stuff packed into her kit, like Res Shred, Heli Drop Burst Damage, automatic buffing all casters just for existing. So she's always going to be useful and she's always going to be good. But yeah. Hey, how's it going, Lance? Nice to see you. Nice to see you turn out. But yeah, Aya good. Aya I have not pulled for a single AF Yala, or regular form anyway. But I have managed to get her to max pot simply through gold certs, 100% through gold certs. And also the tokens from the contingency contract shop and the red certs. Her talent highly, if you're seriously using her, this is one potential I would actually recommend because it improves her otherwise just awful RNG. Her talent 2 RNG is just awful a lot of the time, even with the potential, but it's way better with the potential than it is without. And the second talent, or first talent improvement at max pot actually gives you all of your casters more attack, which is like a handy thing when your niche is like 50% casters. Yeah, no, she's not, I don't think she's even the second, but she's always going to be there because of that talent. Like, you will always find a place for her because of that talent. Honestly, I think Nymph is probably number 1, and I'd say probably Logos number 2. I could get really spicy and say that like Lynn and Eben I think are more impactful than Aya, but that will get this stream has already taken quite a while, and that will just make things get even more off the rails. But yeah, Aya's still good. She's good. I want to really make a video where I like dive into why she's not quite as strong as she was, but why she's like still really, really solid. Because it's really weird that I feel like she's simultaneously overrated and underrated, and that people like overrate her ceiling, but underrate just how much that she can do, which is interesting. Anyway, she's good. She's good. Aya Berry is also very good. I don't have her S2 at Masteries because I've yet to actually need it for any niche clear. It took me like 200 pulls to get one copy of her on her banner, which sucked. And then I was like deep enough that I was like, I might as well keep going and spark Gavial, who you will see in a bit, but only got one more copy in the process. So I have DP cost -1 and that's it. Unfortunately, I don't have her like attack increase for her. Her second talent increases the max HP of all your units, and on S3 it's actually kind of substantial. But I do not have that, so I try not to think about it too much. But yeah, she's good. She's kind of straightforwardly good, and she's kind of like good in a mostly boring way, I have to admit. She heals, she lets you ignore elemental damage, and that's kind of it. Civilite Eterna. This is another unit that I kind of want to give an M9, even though I don't use her F1 or her S1. S2 is great for buffing. S2 is just kind of a loaded skill. Like the way it like buffs all your units, does true damage because why not, and locks the enemy in place for all your units to burst them down is just like a really, really good combination. And her S3 is actually really fun and really good. You can get some like absolutely ludicrous HP totals on units with a combination of that and Aya S3. You can do some really fun stuff. But her mod's also actually really solid, so highly recommend building her. She's also just like, man, she like, not even talking about kit. Character-wise, there's so much that you could say about her. She has so much going on. She is. Do you think like like I know they wanted to have a version. They wanted to leave a version of Teresa in the game because people would want Teresa in the game. But like, it's kind of messed up that Teresa left this like version of her that is not her with Amiya. Like that is, man, our bunny daughter is so much trauma. The poor girl. Yeah, I'm not gonna get too much into her story because there's just so much that you could get into. But like, oh, what a unit. And the baseline, a much, well, okay, I was gonna say a much happier, more fun unit. He is happy and silly and really good. He also, his adopted mom also did get lost in the Shadow Realm, so not all fun in games for baseline. In fact, let's give a live baseline reaction for his mom being lost in the Shadow Realm. But genuinely cracked 5-star. Like, I feel like every other event, the most annoying unit that you'll have to fight is a caster, and he just makes them a non-issue. He has like, I think the number is like 41 effective res when you factor in his talent and the damage reduction he gets from his mod. And he also like boosts another unit's res, every other unit's res in the surrounding tiles for why not? And also he can give you arch shields on S2 if that's somehow still not enough, even though it is pretty much always enough. He is genuinely an unbelievably like really good operator. Highly recommend. And baseline has some of the best voice lines in the game, including my absolute favorite, probably my absolute favorite in the voice line of the game, which is,
I knew you were too lazy to show up, so I went to run some errands. I'm very much used to this.
he's so good. He's so good. Also, yeah, his S2 lasts a full minute, and it only has a 7-second startup time, which is also, I think, in terms of like like the arch shields are unique to baseline, but it lasting this long and it having this fast of a startup is also really unique. Even though like all the 5-star healing defenders have like a stop attacking and heal skill, his is like really good, even though the others also have comparable things. Yeah, no, medic defenders are just like inherently a very good subclass. Like, unironically, he is the hardest to optimize out character in my entire niche. Like, I have some very strong units in my niche. He is the one that like almost always is coming, just because he blocks 3 and he heals, which is just such a valuable role compression. And he like buffs res, and he like yeah, he is really good. People should build baseline. I remember seeing on some list from some survey that he was one of the least built 5 stars in the game, or least built units in the game. Really good unit. You should build them. Like, yeah, Shu and the 6 stars do a lot more, but like Shu and Saria you want on their S3s anyway, and baseline that, which leaves plenty of space for baseline to still have the more consistent heals, or to use his S3, or to just like nullify all arts damage. Like he can trivialize uh like fighting Tallulah, for instance. It's really good. Anyway, I shouldn't dwell on it too long, but build your baseline. He is totally cracked. He is like genuinely a really good unit that like tragically gets overlooked. Charity's also quite good, though not quite on baseline's level, I think. He also kind of does roll compression, but just in a different direction. He does damage while being a defender instead of healing while being a defender. But he's just, and he does have pretty good damage for a defender, or more to the point, for a 5-star defender. But he is still pretty good. He's ironically less good at defending against arts than baseline, though him just being like a little bit of an extra source of arts damage is really nice. He's also a great character. He was great in Lingering Echoes. I also, his S2 is another just really fun skill. You have to time the blast. It does a big blast at the end that does a big amount of AoE arts damage, and you have to time it, but it makes it really fun, kind of like figuring out the timing for that. He was a mainstay of like pre-Zwillingsstürme Litanian Knights, and specifically that skill was. He doesn't get used that as often anymore in the niche. He more often gets optimized out, but he's still really solid, and I'd still recommend giving him a try. Surely, though, he will be power crept when we get Lieselotte as the 6-star arts defender. And with her, finally, the arts protector mods. In fact, I mentioned that I'm like betting on Lieselotte, the Empress, being the 6-star arts protector. I am betting on it so much that I got these 6-star royal defender tokens just in case from the red cert shop before they left the red certs. Which was a stupid amount of sanity, and I am unbelievably low on red certs now. But after having such a bad time getting Aya Berry on a limited banner, just in case they add her and it's on a limited banner, I want to be ready. So, not copium if it's true. I am so true. It's coming. Honestly, my pet theory is that it will be, I could see her being, Lieselotte being a 6-star arts protector, and I could see the other Empress, not Eviganata, oh, man, I'm blanking on her name, being like the boss for the event, but we will see. Anyway, I should keep moving. Cold Shot, another niche operator I use. This one's for my joke niche Canada Knights. She's actually really solid. She has really high DPH, so she can like do damage even against like Patriot and stuff. She is way less flexible than like the 6-star in her archetype Ray. But if you just want to build the 5-star version, or you don't have Ray and you just have the free unit Cold Shot, like she's solid. She's weird, but I think people made her out to be more difficult to use than she actually is. Like, she has kind of a weird range, and she takes long between attacks on her, particularly on her S2. But you point her at the thing that needs to die, and it dies. Yeah, mod 1 I just have because I was frantically building it during... I didn't have it originally, and then I was trying to do Canada Knights on CC Battle Plan 2, and desperately needed that little bit of extra damage. So I built that. If memory serves, I think that's when I did it. But when I built it, I didn't have the materials for the next stages, and I should, again, another thing that I really should get back to finishing up, but I have not done. But yeah, Cold Shot's fun. Also, like, speaking of just really good free units, probably maybe the best free unit in the game, maybe at least the best 5-star free unit in Cruister. She is just, like, I feel like I don't have to say too much. She's just really, really good. She's actually my current IS5 starter, but yeah, S2 synergizes with her talent. It kind of, but like, whereas Ray just like ignores the like kind of more awkward parts about the archetype, Cold Shot just like kind of leans into it and goes even harder into it, which like I get why it's kind of not necessarily everyone's best first impression with the archetype, but it's still totally solid and it still works pretty well, and she can get still some pretty massive DPH on that. But yeah, Cruister good. Build your Cruister. Again, level 2 mod, that was because that was exactly what I needed for the CC Battle Plan 2 clear that I did. Diamante, the unit that I have spent way too much sanity for what they have to offer. He's another one that I want to do a video on. The videos, the Ewenholtz video that I did and the Viviana one that I'm working on are both about how the unit is actually way better than people think they are. Diamante is on, would just be on like, no, he is tragically mid, but they don't have mods yet, and now they have 2 6-stars in the archetype and a new 5-star in the archetype. So like, gotta be coming soon. Surely this will fix him. Surely. I have like, I'm pretty sure only used him in 1 serious clear, which was a contingency contract clear. So like, it's fine. Like, I don't regret it. But holy cow, the amount of sanity it requires to get a 5-star red cert operator to max pot is like way too much. But yeah, that's the main thing that I use him for, and the main thing that makes him notable in my niche is that he can hit 2 enemies at the same time, and I don't have very much AoE, so that's handy to have. Frost, another Canada Knights unit, and another unit that I really had to work for potentials. She was part of my Canada Knights clear of CC Battle Plan 2 as well. Originally, I just had S2 M3, but then I realized I'd need the higher DPH. This is her main skill, but I realized I'd need her higher DPH from her first skill, so I had to give that a masteries. And then I realized that I still wasn't quite high enough on the DPH. I needed I needed like 19 more attack, so I needed to get her 4th potential. Fortunately, the banner was still up at the time, but she was only pot 2 at the time. I used, I think, either CC or red cert tokens to get her another potential, and then I pulled a little bit more on that banner and thankfully in 10 pulls got the last potential I needed. So worked out. She's a fun unit. All the Trap Masters are really fun, honestly. But yeah. Also, the one of Canada Knights, the one that's canonically from Canada, she is from Vancouver itself, and then Isekai'd into Terra. Yeah, the primal cast 5-star primals are like unbelievably mid, but Wormy I think is like the most easily usable one, in part because her talent, like his talent is just extra attack when there's necrosis damage, which doesn't help him apply it. And anytime anyone's applied with necrosis, it's already pretty much overkill, so it basically never triggers. But Wormy's at least is like, here's a spoiler alert, I have built Wormy, is at least easy to trigger and like instant, and just like, even if she's not, no matter how much damage she's doing on her S2, even if it's like a case where like she doesn't have her S2 up yet, like she'll still just do an extra bit of burn damage no matter what, which is a nice enough talent that they basically copied it for Blaze Altar. Um, but yeah, so that is Frost. Earth Spirit. Earth Spirit I also want to do something about because she is like actually really, really solid with her mod. Her mod gives her 100% uptime on her slows, which makes her S2 really good and makes her just like auto attacks already very handy. Yes, you can technically burn with Ifrit's module, but it's kind of it. I have Ifrit and I have her module, so we'll get to her at some point. But it's kind of in a weird spot where she's not very good at applying the status herself, Ifrit. But she works really well with Viviana, fortunately. But yeah, realistically, Ifrit's just gonna kill things before she procs burn. But with Viviana, the two of them just like melt. And like legitimately Viviana and Ifrit are probably now my go-to. Like I just don't want to think about it. I just want to burst down this boss kind of combo, which is kind of which makes for a really fun combo. But they're kind of nuts together. But like Ifrit on her own is her burn mod is kind of just okay. It's really the odd one out because all the other elemental mods are like cracked beyond belief, and Ifrit's is just good if you pair it with people. And when it was added, there wasn't really people to pair her with. No offense to Warmy S1, but Warmy wasn't exactly going to be cranking out too much burn damage either. Anyway, Earth Spirit, really good unit. Her S2, like you have to give her her mod, and you pretty much have to give her her masteries too. But once she has those, she is unironically top 2 or top 3 Decel binders in the game. Like I think she's legitimately better at. She doesn't do anything flashy or special or extra beyond what her job description is, which is a great way of melding with her character, who also does not do anything extra. She works for 8 hours and that is it. And similarly, she does her job as a Decel binder really well, having like really good uptime on her slows and stuff, but doesn't do anything extra or flashy. But honestly, you don't necessarily need all of the extra stuff from a Decel binder. Sometimes you just need the slow, and when you just need the slow, that's great. The thing that what was I going to say about her? Yeah. Anyway, raise your Earth Spirit. She's super cheap to build and absolutely worth it. She's often like she's another Litania Knights operator. She's probably next to Charity and Diamante the most easily optimized out most of the time, but that's just because my ops are like super bursty. Like Evenholz doesn't need something to stay in his range because they don't live beyond 1 second when they're in his range. So it's not because Earth Spirit isn't good. She is great. I actually, in my attempts to put together footage for the Viviana video that I'm working on, I did a clear that did include Earth Spirit. So Earth Spirit content coming up. Yeah, Earth Spirit's a great pairing for Chobai too. Really works well together. And now we're into non-niche, non-maxed operators and where you can really start roasting me for my masteries. I have mostly used Bagpipe either in SSS or as like helping with SP for Vanguards. I did use her in CC12 as my opener, but this was enough for her, so I've just never gotten around to doing more masteries for her. I do like her though as a character, so maybe someday I'll give her some more masteries and maybe a mod, but for now it's in a pretty sorry state. Oh, is he? One sec. Baseline reaction con. Sorry. That makes sense when I click on this. Yeah. I hadn't noticed that. But yeah, Bagpipe is kind of in a sorry state, unfortunately. But she's honestly good enough that she's still solid at just this level of investment. So, Ines, everyone has built Ines because she's really good. Her S2 is really great. Her S3 I really want to build is another skill that I really want to build just because it's really fun. And I mentioned a few of those earlier. She's another one of those meta units that's like she's really powerful, so you kind of like want to like be a contrarian and not use her, but she's also just quite fun. So I do still use her. I want to give her her S3 M3 because it's honestly probably her most fun skill, but and then Mulesus. I'm gonna be honest, I still am not 100% confident on how to pronounce her name. I always just call her Muesli, like the cereal. But she's really fun. She is honestly like I really like Ines. Ines is really fun. I think Muesli is maybe the other most fun Vanguard. She is just like you can do some really silly stuff with her, and she's really fun. And yeah, Moo Moo. This was the banner I sparked Neural Alter on. I only have 2 copies of her. You'll never believe what operator I got way too many copies of that I still haven't raised because I'm still just a little bit bitter about it. On that banner I got like only 6 total 6 stars while sparking, which was already pretty miserable. But then 4 of them were the one that I wanted a copy of but didn't like have as much. I really like the Wine Lamp gang, so I really like Muesli. So I was like, would have been totally okay with more potentials for her, but like, Hool is an really interesting character. I do quite like her in Lone Trail, but she wasn't who I was going for, and getting that happening on the first time I like put that many pulls into a limited banner was like not fun. But yeah, I do have Dagenbrecher. I really like her as a character. She is a phenomenal character, and honestly, in canon, it makes sense for her to be totally busted. So I get it. I get that she's really strong. And I also have her as like just in case I ever decide to include the like non-faction official ops in Litania Knights. I don't use her very much. She is one of my go-tos for like ending 3 IS4 at max difficulty, but I don't use her too much outside of that these days, particularly because she's not currently part of my niche, but she's a really cool character. And I actually would love interactions between her and Viviana because I think like on the surface is like it's like I could see there being some mistrust between Dagenbrecher and Viviana because like to Dagenbrecher, Viviana would seem like just the replacement from the KGCC. Like, oh, we just got another Litanian competitor who will actually do what we want. So I could see there being some tension there, but then as Dagenbrecher perhaps learns that like Viviana didn't exactly go along with the KGCC in the end, some mutual respect would be really interesting between them. And like they're both very different characters, but they both have like some commonality in that experience that I think would be really interesting to see explored. Probably won't happen because they're both just kind of doing their own things for the most part. Like Dagenbrecher is very much just off in Yareg, whereas Viviana has like other threads that like she might continue to be involved in, but yeah, I'd really like to see something that connects the two of them. I will say the one thing I do kind of want to give her S2 M3 once the Arketo IS mod comes out, because you can just do permastalls for just about anything because she can just have 100% uptime on her Frightened debuff, which is just really funny, and I do want to try out. Executor is Okay, one sec. Live baseline reaction, real quick. Live baseline reaction is actually from a scene where where Executor and Baseline are hanging out in Zwillingsströme. And he's playing the piano absolutely terribly. And that face that Baseline is making is his reaction to hearing Executor play the piano. Another unbelievably funny, but in an unintentional way, kind of character that I just love. Oh yeah, I believe it. Dagon being useful in RACC with her S2 for stalling purposes. But yeah. Really, when they announced his alter, I was maybe the least excited. Like I didn't have any attachment to his regular character. I didn't really know anything about him as a character. And I really like Guide Ahead as an event. I really enjoyed that, but like he's not the focus of that. And he's just fine there. Like it didn't really make me any attached to him, at least. And then his event came up, and I really liked that. And then Zwillingsströme came up, and I really liked that. I didn't pull for him, actually. This was an off banner, but it was the kind of off banner that you get, and you're like, okay, yeah, I'm building you. Because I, again, do really enjoy him as a... Yeah, the stuff in his files is really funny. Just like genuinely hilarious character. Really, really good, and has really good serious moments as well, especially in his event. But like, just so funny. Really, really great character. Gaviel was the character that I sparked when I accidentally went to 300 pulls for Ayaberry. And her S2 is really, really fun. It's another just like fun skill. Her S3 is also kind of fun just because it does like stupid amounts of block, and like the damage decrease is interesting and definitely has applications. I mean, look at Rose Salt. She's definitely really good. So there's definitely places for that kind of thing. But yeah, Gaviel's just like a funny, and she is a more straightforwardly funny character than Executor. She is more deliberately written as being, or more deliberately funny. But also her and Tamimi are just really funny together. Really great. And you know, since I have Tamimi raised for Shuzenji Knights, that I had to get Gaviel, and I had to raise Gaviel. But anyway, Irene, I talked about earlier. She is my favorite lane holder right now with her S2. It's like really cracked with her new mod. It's really fun. Also, I talked about it when I talked about skins, but this is such a good skin too. And she's also just like a really great character. I really liked her in Undertides. I really liked her in Stultifera Novice. Anyway, really, really great character. Another character that I did not actually pull for. These are both off banners. Her and the first copy and the potential. But another one of those that like got you as an off banner and was immediately like, yeah, I'm raising you. Also, goated, absolutely goated base skill. Always use her for that. Yeah, of course I have Knurl raised. Showed it briefly earlier, but also thank you for the... I was half expecting to get roasted for not having S3 masteries, so I appreciate that y'all appreciate how I have her built. But yeah, she's a lot of fun with that. Her S3 may not be Dagenbecker's S3, but her S2 is just so much fun with her new mod. Of course, I have Knurl raised. I have considered giving her an M9, but I've kind of run out of materials whenever I've had the inkling to do so, and I'm not usually doing AFK skills anyway. So, but both of her other skills are just like really good and handy to have. I mean, true damage is nice to have, and it's nice for when you want to like have her stay on the field. But her S2 is just like always will mean that she basically always has a use. Really, really, really like that aspect of her kit, and really enjoy using her. Even with my blessing being maxed out, I do still make sure I make time to use Knurl because she's still a fun unit to use. Her default look is also very good. Her default E2. But I do have her skin. Chobai. I really need to get Chobai's mod because it's a really, really good mod. It really sort of like boosts her power a whole bunch. Spoiler alert, I have Suzerain. I have not built Suzu. So I don't have the main combo for that. The other thing that I really want to do for Chobai is give her S1 M3 as it does really fun stalling things. I mean, it's great for RA. It's also great for like IS. Weirdly, it ends up being the skill that I use most of the time, just because it stalls units in a way that like almost no one can do, and it's just really handy to have. I did pull for her on her original banner. I was one of the few people who actually pulled on her banner right before the Yato Ald banner. But I didn't go super hard. I was just going to do a little bit. It was one of the rare cases where I was going to put some pulls in without like being able to guarantee getting a character. But I got real lucky. Silver Ash, who you'll note is on his E1. I don't really have much to say. His module is another one that's super cracked, but I don't actually really use him, so I don't really have a reason to invest in that, even if it, because if it makes him really good, it doesn't matter if I'm still not using him. But yeah, I should just use Earth Spirited Touch. You're so right for that. But again, like Chobai, I'm like when I'm using her on S1, it's mostly for the stall. It's not necessarily for the bind, or no, it is for the bind. It's not necessarily for the damage. So yeah, I should do it anyway, but yeah, I feel like Silver Ash, yeah, Silver Ash is it's good to have because he's strong, but he's not like a unit that I'm going out of my way to use. Like some units that I haven't used in a while, I'll be like, oh, I should specifically go out of my way to use this character. Silver Ash is not one of them, admittedly. My S3 M1 Surtur, I got her from the Cert shop after Pinch Out because Pinch Out was such a pain, and I realized that I did not have enough investment in arts damage at the time. I was like, maybe, okay, that's probably not a bad idea. She's not at 200 trust, so you can see that I don't even use her very much. I mostly just use her for training cards, to be honest. And my bargain with HG for Vivi's Burn mod was just to build Vina. I said nothing about building Surtur, so S3 M1 she remains. Speaking of Vina, I pull, as I said I would, I pulled for her and built her. She is much, I feel like she is weirdly highly criticized in being, and she's despite not being the biggest Vina fan, she's genuinely a pretty solid, like her S3 is a good skill, and she is a good strong unit. She's better than people make her out to be, even if she does have a long cooldown on her S3. But I think, honestly, all three of the R Spiders are in a really neat spot because they all have very distinct uses from each other. They're not like direct competition with each other, which I talk about in my upcoming Viviana video. But yeah, solid unit. I would have rather not dumped all the pulls that it took to get her. But I made my bargain for the Viviana mod, and I stood by it. So, and hey, she was nice to have in the Lapland Altar event for those stupid trucks with their stupid damage reduction. Blemishine. I like Blemishine. She is really great. Yeah, no, Fina's design is not great. She should have like street punk skin to kind of fit with her more, like her background a bit better. This is her S3 does have good effects, I will say. It's a really cool looking skill, but her like outfit design is pretty mid at best. Anyway, Blemishine, I really like Blemishine. She was like one of my really early lane holders that I used, mostly on S2, though I do have her S1 M1 for the breakpoint. And she's just a solid unit. She's more than just a penance and mudrock synergy unit. She's actually really fun to use. I also sorry, speaking of like opinions on armor designs, I really like her E1 Blemishhine's E1 armor way more than her E2. Her E2 art is broadly speaking good, which is why I have her on it. But just like the armor set at E1 is just like looks way better, and I like it a lot more. Though her skin is still just the obvious best choice, though sadly I do not have it. I just don't use Blemishine nearly as much these days because I'm like mostly niching stuff, and then if I'm not niching, I'm doing like high difficulty content that is like stuff that I'm using very specific units for. That Blemishine could work in IS5 because anyone can that, like, it's IS5. You can just get all of the King's relics and you're good. But usually I'm like being a little bit more like looking for specific things when I'm building squads there. But yeah, honestly, Blemishine's another unit that I think would be really interesting to see interact with Viviana, because I think they both have very much idealized versions of Blemishine's sister Neural. But also like I think would be I just think they'd be an interesting pair to interact and see how they talk about. Yeah, no, that's fair. I think Blemmy is a little too she gets a little silly with it, and that's like part of her appeal and part of what makes her fun. And you're right that the skin doesn't necessarily reflect that, even if it is like a really good looking skin. Eunectes. We got to a snake. Eunectes was they absolutely would not stop yapping about Neural, but I think they'd become like friends outside of just talking about Neural, and I think it would be interesting. But again, I don't really expect that from any future events. So if anyone wants to write the fan fiction, I guess, go for it. Eunectes, it's another like unfairly maligned character. She's kind of niche, but she is really fun to use. Also, she's gonna have the goated Crown Slayer synergy once Crown Slayer gets her module. But she was also one of like, I got her pretty early in the game. I got her as an off banner on the Gato Altar event, and she became like really central to a lot of my early game strategies. When I played CC12, she was like the core DPS unit that I used for like dealing with the final Avenger. And honestly, she still has like I still really like her in part because of that. I'm just like one of the like I'm sure I'm not the only one who has those characters from like that we used really early on that we just like, even if we don't use them every day anymore, we still just like have that fond spot in our hearts for them. That's definitely what I have for Eunectes. Horn. I hope none of the Lupo players are around anymore, because Horn has some embarrassing masteries. I got her very early in the game as well. And when I E2'd her, since she was one of my very early E2s, I just didn't have resources for masteries at that point, and I just sadly have never really gotten around to getting back to that, which is too bad, because I do think she's an interesting character in the story. But maybe someday. I also don't have either of her mods for the same reason. Also, she's just really strong. She doesn't really need the masteries to go do very much. Yeah, she just works out of the box. She's just solid and strong. She's like, all of her skills are worth investing in, but also are totally good without that level of investment. But I really should give her some more, but one of these days. And then we have Jessica. speaking of masteries, I should give her S2M3 because that's also a pretty solid skill. But yeah, I love her skin. It's just a great skin all around. It has great effects too. I also, I love that Liskarm is hidden behind. It's like this on my phone too. It's basically entirely hidden behind the trust bar, which is unbelievably funny to me because it's like Franka absolutely set this up specifically so that Liskarm would be covered up there. Like it's just like, oh yes, this is just another Franka prank. But she's just like a really fun unit to use. Like her turning or being able to turn around is like, you could do some really silly things with it and do some like really fun. It gives her a lot of flexibility as a unit with her range and stuff. Yeah, at least she's happy in her alter form. Also, her event is like, I'm not gonna lie, before I read Jessica's event, I actually, yeah, that is Almond there. There's Almond, there's also Cold Shot. There's also, let's zoom out. There's also like the two old Sancta guys from her event, which is really good. Her event is so good that it basically sold me on her. I was kind of like more of a vanilla, like I really like the Blacksteel group, but of the like, other than Franka and Liskarm, like I kind of liked vanilla more than Jessica. But this event is so good that it really, really sold me on her. And she is another unit that I will go out of my way to use just because I like her a lot. Oh my gosh, I didn't realize that for Franka. That is so these two are just unbelievably married. Good for them. Good for them. It's a phenomenal skin. Her default E2 is like really good too. I love the tiny like kind of panicking cat that's along there with her. It's so fitting. But even like there are plenty of skins that I haven't gotten because I just like their E2, but the skin is so good that even though I like the E2, I still have to get it. But yeah, anyway, Jessica's a great character. She has a great event. If you haven't already read it, read it. Also, gameplay-wise, her event is one of my favorites. It's just good times all around. Mudrock also has kind of weird masteries. She was another relatively early E2 for me, and therefore, like, I kind of just ran out of materials. S2 is just for the breakpoint. I think it reduces SP by 1, so that's nice. And S3 was what I needed for CC12, because I also use Mudrock for that. Ash, I mentioned my best ever banner experience earlier. Ash was by far my worst. It was awful. I had to go to 120 polls. So I wasn't necessarily sold on Ash. I didn't feel like I had to get Ash. I wanted the 5 stars from this banner though. But getting both of the 5 stars took over 50 polls. At which point I was like, well, I'll finish pity and go for a 6 star. And if it's at, but then it took me another like 10 plus polls. It took me well over 60 polls to get just one 6 star, and that was a Joie duplicate, which, no offense to the snakes, I did not need a Joie duplicate. And then I was like, well, maybe I can get 2 more 6 stars in the banner with the guaranteed Ash. I've gone this far, I might as well get Ash. So I went and got Ash, and it was the guarantee. 120 polls. I did not get another 6 star. I just got those 2 6 stars. After doing 60 polls per 6 star. One of which was a duplicate. It was awful. And that was like, again, I wasn't like 100% like, oh wow, I have to have Ash before this. But after I invested that much to get her, I was like, no, I'm building her immediately because I'm not doing all that for a unit that will just sit on my account and do nothing. So, and she's genuinely good. She's pretty fun. I do enjoy using her. Her newer mod is like huge for her too. So yeah, I am glad that I got her, but man, at what cost? Speaking of Chen 2 rolls, I do have Cringe Chen. I got her on the very first free pull on the Pepe banner, and because she was an off-banner limited, I was like, well, I guess I might as well build her. I haven't really used her. Also, sadly, her actually very good skin has not rerun once since I got her. It wasn't in the shop then, and it hasn't been in the shop since. So I'm stuck with default Cringe Chen, which is it's just, man, they're really making me wait for like the actually, like, again, her skin is really good and it has like really nice effects on this, but I just haven't had the chance to get it. So eventually I will, and eventually I'll be slightly less embarrassed for having Chen and having her belt, but not yet, unfortunately. Exu, I don't use very often, I have to admit. She's not a character I'm particularly invested in, though that might change with her upcoming altar. Yeah, no, the skin absolutely made her playable. But yeah, Exu, she's don't get me wrong, she's still good. She's still solid, and her new mod is supposedly quite good too. But I've never needed more investment in her, and now I have more investment in both Ash and Cruiser, so I'm like, S3M1, you shall remain. So Fia is, I do, however, quite like Fia. I got her with gold certs because I did not manage to get her on her rerun banner. Her skin is also great. Her default look is also great. And she's just a really cool character. Guide Ahead is also one of my favorite events, along with like Jessica's event. So glad to have her, even though I don't use her too much. But she's another character that I will sometimes just like go out of my way just to bring, just because I like her. Do not have S3 masteries because again I don't really invest in AFK skills too much, but yeah, her other skin is just really good too, which is I probably won't get because I just don't get multiple skins for characters. But you know what? She deserves it. She deserves the multiple good skins. So after I got Cringe Chen on the very first free pull, I did the rest of the free pulls, got really nothing else of note. And then I decided I figured I'd finish Pity at least. I wasn't going to be pulling for either Naren or for Pepe, but I happened to get a Naren, and she's actually really fun to use. And I use her in IS mostly, which is why, despite using her, her trust isn't maxed yet. But she's pretty fun. Loop shooters are just like a fun archetype, so clear winner on that. So I am, even though I didn't get the limited from that banner, I am not complaining. I think I got the more fun operator. Possy's great. She's another really interesting character and has a really fun and interesting kit. I'm a sucker for kits that have stuff that you can place on the map. Like if you can put extra stuff down, it's like, damn, winning kit, excellent, 10 out of 10. And the way that Posy specifically works with that is really fun. Honestly, I still need to, like, I do use her relatively regularly, but I need to use her more because I feel like she's another one of those characters that really, really benefits from, like, she has a high skill ceiling, and I feel like I'm not even close to that ceiling yet. Like, even just normally, she can do some really strong stuff, but, like, I really want to keep pushing her to see exactly what I can learn to do with her. Ray is one of the mods that I'm currently working on building. I need to unlock. Those are for, ignore that I have enough materials here. These are for Lessing. But Ray is just, I got her pretty recently too, so she's not at 200 trust yet. She's also just really fun Um, she's another one of those units that's really strong but really fun, so I don't even mind, and I just use her for a bit. I mostly use her in IS along with Neuron, but yeah, I need to get her mod. Her mod I know doesn't do massive things for her damage, but it does make her little guy, her little sand beast cycle a lot better, which is really nice. So I'm going to invest in that. And I don't have her skin just because her default art is so good. This is the case of one of the cases of like, it's just really good. She's just a really nicely designed character that I don't feel the need to replace that with anything else. I sparked Roz on the last limited banner, and I'm really glad I did. I've been using her all the time in IS, which like I get she's really strong for, but she's just really funny. Like always having the things to slam down whenever you place a caster or a sniper is just really fun. It's just like I really like what they've been doing with some of these IS mods. You can do some really silly stuff, and it's really good. Yes, the Holy Bunny. How did I not zoom in on that? I got to do that. Everyone praised the Holy Bunny in chat. Descending from above. Anyway, Roz is just a really fun operator. Also great character. She's really good in the main story, and she's great in Lone Trail. I really liked her character development in that, and I'm really glad she got the IS mod and has like a bit more of a chance to shine because she's really cool. And I got her for just 200 pulls. So thank you HG for reducing the count for that, because 300 is so much. Anyway, Schwartz I got as I think my first ever top op tag, and it was another case of it was relatively early in the game, and I ran out of materials for her masteries, and I unfortunately haven't been back to it since. But yeah, she's another one that's just good and strong and like a nice character. Everyone can boo me for this. Listen, I haven't sparked. I also don't pull on a lot. There's a lot of characters I skip, and I have sparked 3 times. Once was on the Ea Altar banner that I did not want to or mean to, but had come far enough that I did. There was the one that I did deliberately for Neural that I really saved hard for, and then there was the 200 for Roz. But yeah, I try to be pretty on top of my planning for polls. So yeah, you can. I only take her out for P15 IS, and even then, it's like only if I'm going for like a particularly difficult like ending or something like that. Yeah, honestly, her S2 would be worth investing in. It's a good skill too, but yeah. I'm not surprised if I do. Yeah. Anyway, let's push the roach under the rug for a bit. Golden Glow, yay! Everyone cheer Golden Glow. I don't have her mod, but honestly, she's another one of those characters that doesn't really feel like she needs it. She's just straightforwardly good, and she ignores like a stupid amount of res, so it's like she's always doing good damage. But yeah, just good, fun character. I need to read her event still. I still haven't read her event, but I've heard it's a really, really good one and really kind of fleshes her out as a character in a cool way. Ifrit, another part of the burn team. On her own, her burn mod is kind of because she's not very good at applying it. She'll usually just like take out whatever enemy before she triggers the burn itself. But with Viviana, she like will destroy, the two of them will just destroy pretty much anything. So really fun combination. Also, I talked about how Roz was really good in Lone Trail. So is Ifrit. Ifrit is like, Lone Trail really sold me on Ifrit as a character. So maybe Ifrit Alter eventually. We'll see. I got Lappy. Lappy was also actually one of my first 5 stars. You'll see that I have her built, though incomplete masteries, unfortunately. So it was nice to get her as an alter form on her limited banner. And she does have a really neat kit. She has a really fun kit, so I have been happy to. Yes, the unemployed. Really looking forward to. I know it's like kind of overused, and everyone talks about like the U and like Lapland combo, but I think it will be a fun combo. I don't think it's as serious as people like make it out to be, like, oh, it's busted now, because it's like, I honestly don't even know if that's Yu's main skill. I think that might be skill 2. At least with how I envision using Yu, but still, it'll be a fun combo. Yeah, I mean, Lapland is still really strong, and like I would say like a meta worthy unit. But it's not like she's stupid in the way that like what the Wishadel is or whatever. The flamingos would be very funny. But yeah, like Golden Glow is still viable too, which is nice. It's not like so much to the point where it's like, well, why would I ever use Golden Glow? It's like, no, Golden Glow still has like her Resignor, which is pretty nice. She has like a shorter cycle, which is pretty nice. And so like it's not like, wow, Golden Glow is dead. But yeah, they're both pretty good. Marcel. I do quite like Marcel. I do really like Dungeon Meshi, so I am glad to have gotten the collab units. And I know everyone like complained that I know it wasn't popular that she's a splash caster, because splash casters aren't seen as being particularly strong, but I think she is. She's actually a pretty solid unit, and she's fun to use. She is like the one AFK skill that I have like properly built. But I do also actually kind of think it's a kind of fun AFK skill as far as the AFK skills go. So, whoa, you're right. Wait a minute. What's going on? No, wait. Am I? What's going on? I don't know. Sorry, kind of lost track. I think I kind of lost track of chat for a second there. But yeah, she is interesting. Her S1 has some weird stuff you can do with it too, though I haven't really invested in that, in either building the skill or really like learning the ins and outs of it. But yeah, she's a good character. The event story was also pretty fun when I read of it. But yeah, anyway, I am not immune to limited collab op from a manga that I like. So, and now the best caster in the game, Nymph. Nymph is like really cracked, and her S2 is still one of the most fun skills there are. I am very curious to see how much usage she gets after Tragedia comes out, because they both have very similar kinds of stalls, but his is a lot more controllable in some meaningful ways. But I think she'll still definitely have tons of use cases, especially in like contingency contract, where Tragedia's like deploy will have a longer redeploy time, whereas she'll still just have the same SP cost. So I think it's not like she's like power crept into oblivion. And I think she's still going to be really good. And she's just really fun, and she's a good character. Nightingale. I do really like the followers. They're all really cool characters. I've really liked their part of the main story in this last arc. And I hope we do get more about them, to be honest. I'd really like them to keep exploring those characters. And I feel like surely they will. Like, surely will. Like, honestly, it's probably going to be Shining Altar, but I'd be really happy with Nightingale Altar too. But yeah. Well, you permastall everything with Nymphs S2, but sometimes they just walk in a direction you don't actually want them to walk in. I have had that happen occasionally. Again, fringe case, that doesn't happen that often, so it's still like super strong. But also with yeah, I don't know. I've just seen some absolutely ridiculous stuff with Tragedia so far, and they fill a similar-ish niche. Again, like I said, I don't think Nymph is going to be unusable or power like. I think she's still going to be one of, if not the best caster, but Tragedia is just also very strong. Honestly, you could maybe having the ability to stall in multiple places on the map with this kind of ability is also just like probably a pretty powerful thing to have access to. Anyway, yeah, Nightingale I really like story-wise, and that's the primary reason I built her. She's just really cool. And even if I already have like ways to deal with arch damage through baseline, she's also very good at that. Also, you can make baseline have just like absolutely silly amounts of res with this, which is even funnier. And then Angelina, who I got really recently. She was actually my 300th operator. I got her through the gold certs on the kernel locating, primarily for IS. Her IS mod is another really, really fun one. And the waitlist stuff is that you can do with her is really funny. Yeah, basically 100 res, almost. It's just like receiving chip damage from arts. It's so silly. Virtuosa, of course. I did get a copy of her on her original banner when I got 3 Vivies, which was exactly how I wanted it to go. I wanted 1 copy of her and a bunch of Viviana, which I got. She is also just really good and pretty fun to use. I use her a lot in IS. I also got a potential of her on Lapland's banner, which was fine, I guess. I kind of would have, like, there's a lot of older limiteds from before I started playing that I don't have that I would have kind of preferred to get, but I will take a potential, I guess, for a unit that I do use pretty regularly. So not the worst thing that could have happened, but also, you know, yes, number one stinky operator, Virtuosa. Dorothy is another just like unbelievably fun operator that also I feel like people just don't realize. Like, I feel like people know that Dorothy is good, but I feel like not enough people realize just how cracked Dorothy is. She, like, global on-demand AoE crowd control is just so good that, like, it's tragic that people completely ignore her. I feel like, and the amount of things that she can just solo is also pretty nuts. And I feel like would get talked about more if we didn't have, you know, a certain blue woman just being able to solo everything. But yeah, it's Virtuosa S2 and Ascalon S2. I hadn't thought of that combination. That is an interesting one. I might have to give that a go. Yeah, I should get her mod because that's the one that like cranks up Dreamer to unbelievable levels. It's honestly like the crit mines are one thing, but the increase to her talent is kind of nuts. Like an extra 20% attack that again gives her really strong autos and unbelievable, like even more damage on her already quite strong mines is like kind of nuts. Anyway, I feel like after IS4 came out, there was like a moment where everyone was like, oh, Dorothy's really good, and then everyone forgot about her again, and it's kind of tragic, but oh well. I still use her, so. Though perhaps part of the reason why people forgot about her is Ella. Ella is another, although I feel like not enough people realize that Ella is probably like Ella is IMO a top 5 operator in the game in terms of just like what she can do. Like her global on-demand fragile is wild. The amount of damage she does is wild. The flexibility of being able to deploy anywhere and have her mines deploy anywhere is wild. It's like she is unbelievably strong. which maybe isn't the best given that she is a limited collab unit that may likely never come back. But she's really strong, and she is also pretty fun to use. The amount of flexibility that she has and just what she can do is pretty cracked. Gladia, I don't have S1 M3, but I have considered it. Masteries on shifters are just so important to get the extra shift power that it's like it's probably worth it. I actually don't come to think of it. I'm not 100% sure if she gets extra pull strength on her S1, but I know she gets an extra charge, which would be maybe worth it. But I mostly use her with her S2 and S3 anyway, so it's kind of maybe eventually. I kind of want to look into her other mod too. The way that it like can increase the shift strength is interesting to me, but I haven't had enough need for it lately. Yeah. So, but perhaps eventually she will have M9 mod 6. I would not be surprised if that's how she ends up. Pull strength does go up. Okay, yeah. So, yeah, I probably will have to give her M9 at some point. But yeah, I'll get the materials eventually. Yato, who I was really excited about. I used the free royal tokens to get her to the potential she's at, but I was pretty happy about. I'm a big Monster Hunter fan, so when I started the game and found out that she was coming, I was pretty excited, especially since I had just missed the Texalt banner when I started playing. So having the chance to get another strong fast redeploy at the time was pretty appealing. And I do still use her sometimes, particularly in IS. It's or an RA. But honestly, like it is interesting that like obviously the fast redeploys are still really, really strong, but it is interesting the ways that the meta has kind of shifted away from them, and that like they aren't necessarily the go-to in a lot of situations anymore. Like when you get I mean, part of it in IS is that there are just so many absolutely cracked out specialists. So when you get a specialist voucher, they're not necessarily going to be your first pick, even if they are still a good pick. But yeah, anyway, interesting unit, very strong unit. One I am happy to have still because I do like Monster Hunter, but even if I don't use her quite as much anymore. The funny cat man who I got from recruitment ages ago, but I finally built when he got his IS mod because his IS mod is really, really funny. It lets you just spam him and his clone constantly so long as you have DP, basically. Yeah, again, super fun, super silly. Would recommend. Weedy, another shifter with masteries, another M6 for shifters. Maybe I'll eventually give her S1, M3, but I'm slightly less inclined to do so than Gladia because Gladia I use for Choose NG. But yeah, really good unit, really fun unit. I do really enjoy the shifters. They can do just some really fun things. Neither of her mods have really spoke to me though, so I haven't invested in either of those, but maybe eventually. The Franca. Everyone cheer for Franca. She deserves it. She is great. I should give her masteries. I should give her her mod. But really like her. Really like her skins. Really like really, yeah, just a great character. Big fan of Franca. Lutenata, another unit that I enjoy. I think I used her. I think I used the like free 4-star E2 on her and I occasionally use her in like IS and stuff. She's just really fun. She's a really neat character, really great voice, really great design. Yeah, I know the M0 with no mod. Listen, this is Liskarm's revenge on all of the pranks that she pulls. But yes, Lutenata Gaming. She's really fun. I like her a lot. She has great voice work too. I am definitely going to be. I like her default art, but I am definitely going to be tempted by her skin as well. I like that she flies a kite during her S2. It's just kind of sweet. Yeah, the SP cost, no change to SP cost on that. It's kind of too bad. But I do have her mod. I have it level 3 in part because she is a Juggernaut, and Juggernauts love their stats. So giving her as many stats as possible. I should honestly get her to max level, but yeah, she's quite good. She is. I definitely enjoy using her. I also Chilchuck is. I've built all of the Dungeon Meshi operators, but Chilchuck's the one that actually has masteries because he has the best archetype of them all. And being ready for the next CC and all. But yeah, he's honestly maybe the worst of the 5-star agents. Next, at least, maybe he's better than Puzzle. I don't know. I don't actually know quite enough about Puzzle. I should probably build like Kanta at some point, but yeah, I do occasionally use him in like IS and stuff, and I like to bring him when I'm just like casually clearing stuff without my niche. Fang I have for Canada Knights, and also just because she's good and a character that I like. This reminds me that I still need to read the A1 manhwa, but yeah, Fang is good. This was the real reason I was pulling on the Wishadel banner. To be completely honest, I did want to get her to max pot too, but that doesn't excuse me from building Wishadel. So Texas, who I built entirely for DP on potential simulations for niche clears. I had her at E2 level 1 for the longest time because that was all I needed for it, but I finally did give her the levels. Maybe eventually I'll give her masteries too, but we'll see. Laios, I have the mods at level 1 for all of the Dungeon Meshi ops because I wanted to read the mod stories, but he's a really funny character. I do like his kid. His kid is unbelievably well suited to that is Laios' kid. It doesn't mean it's good, but it is fun and it is funny. So Lappy, one of my very first 5-star units, and my very first E2, first ever E2, which again, I had no resources after that, so I did not have the ability to give her any more masteries, and I haven't gotten around to it yet to finish that off, but still pretty fond of her. There is Senshi, who I don't use very often, in part because I have so many other Guardians built, but he's fine. He's solid. He's okay. And again, as a character, and as again someone who enjoyed Dungeon Meshi a lot, it is neat having Chilchuck Dungeon Meshi. Still, this being the reveal of the collab in the first place was like the funniest way they could have revealed that collab. Speaking of M1s from Lapland, Blue Poison was another very early unit for me, and yeah, I'm really sorry about the Lapland ones, especially because I know she gets a lot from her S2 M3, but one day. Bloop, I believe both of these are breakpoints. Honestly, wouldn't be terrible to invest further in them. I do like her as a character. But actually, the thing I would do before I would give her more masteries in her module would be building Glaucus. Because Glaucus deserves to be built, and I haven't done that yet. But yeah, these again, I got her really early. Got her from recruitment. I I do really like her, but I've never gotten around to giving her the rest of the masteries, especially now that I have like Rooster maxed and stuff. But oh, S1N3 does SP. Ooh, okay. I'll get to that. But again, I still haven't built Glaucus, but I do want to build Glaucus too. To the rare built to Mimi. Another choose NG off. I do have her on S on her E1 art or her E0 art. Her E2 is just so much. It's just a little bit much. Her skin's nice, but I haven't felt like compelled to get it necessarily. She is genuinely a really fun operator. Is she good? I don't know, but like she is legitimately really fun, and I would recommend building her just for that. She is so funny. And I do love that Shuzhenji's operators are all like unbelievably like elegant and like broadly speaking look at least really well put together and stuff. And then to Mimi, who is just a mess of a character, which I don't say as like a critique of the art. I say that lovingly. To Mimi is great. I would not change her one bit. Absolutely. I think Dagenbrecher could learn arts from Tamimi. I think that would be great. And then another totally meta 5-star caster I built, which I kind of showed briefly, but is Wormy, who I had to do for the Burn Squad. Also, she has some really great voice lines too. Oh man, I don't remember which one it is, but no. Maybe it's the base one? No. This.
Okay. If it's what you want to call me, Doctor, then no worries. I am a little potlid.
She's a little potlid.
I'm all set.
No, wait, and it's the recruitment one that I was thinking of. Where is it? On board.
Nice to see you again, Doctor. Do you miss Billy Stew? I was just heading to the app kitchen with Lance. Hey, I'm not a little potlid. Don't call me potlid.
She is so good. I love her voice. I love she's a great character all around. I'm really looking forward to her sister arriving in the game too, who is also very good. But yeah. Oh yeah, the mod on Tamimi is actually kind of game changing for her. That's nice. And then I need to do Amiya Masteries. I really need to do Amiya Masteries and mod, to be honest. I did get her skin, for the record. Even me, who like almost very rarely buys skins, without a second thought about her skin. But I need to give her Masteries in her Incantation Medic form, because that's I use her most of the time in this class. But Amiya's great. I love Amiya. I should give her Masteries. And I'm gonna move on because I'm just sad looking at the fact that I haven't given her Masteries yet. Palopsis! I don't have Masteries on her, but I do have her at mod 3 at least. She was another very early unit for me, which is another part of why I don't have her with Masteries. And one of like probably I think my second or third E2. She was really early in terms of E2s. She was after Lappy, but quite early, which is part of why she also doesn't have Masteries. But Joyce is great. I love Joyce. Yeah, and yeah, she doesn't really need the Masteries either, but it's more of because I like her that I would give her Masteries, and I do like her, so she may eventually get them. Wispy is another great unit. I'm really glad I built her I built her because of Shuzenji Ops, but I've been using her outside of that too, and she's just really solid. Her range is really great. Her healing is quite solid. Her skin is beautiful. Really, really good. Yeah, just Wispy is great. Wispy is so great. Bobbing, the rare built bobbing. Though I don't have it was a bit much alliteration there. don't have his mod. I should, but the thing is, he doesn't actually. He's just not that as good of a. He's good, and he's good at everything, and he's good at what he does, and he's actually surprisingly good in IS because when you buff his attack, his talent will just automatically trigger burn on anything he attacks, which is really nice. But applying burn isn't Vivi's first priority in a teammate, but rather teammates that can also benefit from the enemies being under burn, and he just doesn't do that as well. So Wormy and to a greater extent Ifrit are more common combinations for that so far, but still glad to have him. Good to I want to, especially once the U banner happens, I want to do more with the burn squad, but we will see how that banner goes. Hopefully, knock on wood, everything goes well in that. I didn't know that he asked for a hug, to be honest. And I didn't know that about Winflet either. Confession time, I have not built Winflet, but yeah. Catherine is built. I don't have masteries on her yet because I built Bobbing and Vina on that same update, and was just out of materials and out of skill books, more to the point. But she's really cool. I'm so glad that they made her a playable operator. I would have pulled for her, but they gave her to us for free. So that's a win. That's actually, she is another unit that I'm looking forward to seeing what they do for her skin. But Proviso, who I mostly built for the base, and that's pretty much it. Enforcer is actually a pretty solid pusher. I do enjoy using him. He has some fun like niche stuff that you can do with him, even when you're not like niche is in like a thing that he can do that no one else can do, and those things are fun even when you're not playing niche knights. And also he is obsessed with coffee, which I am as well. So Tin Man for IS 5 because of course he's just really good there, and also he was also very good in Lone Trail. So yeah, he is very good. But now we're into some 4 stars. Beanstalk, who is probably my favorite. Oh, okay. I also quite like Scavenger in terms of, I was going to say my favorite 4-star Vanguard, but my favorite to use 4-star Vanguard. She's a lot of fun. It's a fun archetype. And she's pretty solid. I use her a bunch in IS, particularly IS5, because there's a bunch of things, like there's a bunch of attacks that you can bait out with her crabs and stuff like that, so it's pretty handy to have. Cutter's very good. I should get her mod, but I haven't gotten around to that. But yeah, she's just good, and she's a nice guard to have for free in IS5. Quartz, I haven't done masteries on Quartz, but I did do the module to ease the burden of healing her, because that is pretty impactful for her. I also level it to 3 because you might as well for a 4-star. They're pretty cheap, and it gives her some more stats, and girl likes her stats. So I should see the thing. Part of why I haven't given her masteries, well, one, I just lack of materials, but also I really want to give her S2 masteries, but the increase is damage by 25%. It's just rough. It is so rough that they gave her that. And so investing instead in her just attack up skill feels like really disappointing. but yeah, she's fun. I like her. I'm glad that I built her. Meteor, my second favorite 4-star after Earth Spirit. I quite like her. She was a staple of me playing the game, pretty early progression in the game, because I didn't have, until I got bloop from recruitment, I didn't have any 5-star marksman. So, and there are just so many drones in the early chapters. So Meteor was really helpful for that. And then when I did get Bloop, I used Meteor and Bloop. So that was really nice to have those together. And she's just good character, really nice design. I'm really glad they gave her the second skin because I started playing well after this was a thing, so I never got that. And this is just a really nice skin anyway. Haze, another epic Viviana combo unit. Her res debuff is actually really solid, and her skill cycle is identical to Viviana's if you ignore Viviana's like ramp up, which makes them really great. So yeah, really fun unit to use. Really silly character too. Also kind of astonishing that she still doesn't have a skin, but anyway. But yeah, she's good. I use her a bunch in IS because she's free to recruit in IS5. Perfumer was actually a relatively recent build because I know she's a lot of people's like staple for the early game, but I didn't build her until pretty later. I built her specifically for IS5 because prior to that, one of my first 6 or 5 stars was Telopsis, so I was just using Telopsis. So Contrail, I did get and build Contrail, and yeah, she's really fun and really good. Her uptime is just absurd. And I'm really looking I haven't looked too much at Tippy's kit, the 5-star Sky Ranger that they released recently, but I want to see just what she can do, because if she's a step up from Contrail, she must be great. But I'm really curious what they end up doing. The 6-star Sky Ranger is going to be nuts. I can already tell just from this, but I'm looking forward to seeing what it is and who it ends up being. Ethan, who I also need to unlock the mod for, but the reason why I haven't done his or Lessing's mod is because I haven't actually played Twilight of Olamonda yet, which has been something that I've been saving to do on stream. So I will probably do that then. But he's just good. He's just good. Gravel, because everyone needs their gravel. I had her at E1 for the longest time, but I finally E2'd her when I started trying to learn IS4 ending 4, as I wanted a unit to bait out cannon fire once I had killed one of the kings and was stalling the other. So very handy unit, very just solid to have. Myrtle, because everyone has Myrtle. I think I have some controversial takes on Myrtle in that primarily it's just that it feels like no one's realized it, but she's been power crept. Like, she is, like, the 5 and 6-star flag bearers were already faster, but like could generate more DP, but now that agents have like on deploy skills or skills that can activate immediately with Bagpipe, she's no longer the first choice for immediate DP either. And also most of the time Vanguards aren't even entirely necessary, particularly not ones who are this focused on DP generation, because outside of like contingency contracts, you almost never need this massive amounts of DP generation. But I still have her built. And again, once you do go to like contingency contract, having multiple Vanguards isn't a bad thing. So of course it's like, this isn't to say it's a bad idea to raise Myrtle or to use her or whatever, but I think it's just for a lot, like, weirdly high number of people say that she's like the best Vanguard in the game. And I've seen people make that take even after like Ines has released, and it's like, that's fair, but I feel like if you're not using like, especially with like less people relying on like Mudrock and Chalter these days, I feel like a lot more of the more meta operators are not. Yeah, no, they don't. People don't realize you don't need a Vanguard, but I think a lot of people, even if they're not like niche knights level or high level player, could easily get away without having a Vanguard in squads. But and then we get to units that I haven't fully built. Siege was my starting, like the beginner banner 6-star that I got. I have not E2'd her. I should eventually, but I did just spend so many mats building Vina Victoria that I'm not super committed to dumping a ton of mats to finish off building Siege. Praminix is probably my next E2. I have been working on her, but I ran out of red certs, so I haven't been able to make the tool chips. But once I have a chance to farm those out, I'll be E2ing and hopefully masterying Praminix, because she is great. She's a great character, and also she is another debuffer, which is a fun thing and a thing that I don't have nearly enough of, to be honest. Gummy, I use an IS4, but I haven't bothered to E2 because, or I use an IS5, but I haven't bothered to E2 because I don't typically. Oh, I don't really care about Gummy. I'm gonna be honest. I'm just gonna do these as an overview, to be honest. Because there aren't really. There's Click, another one that I should E2 at some point, but I mostly use Haze. I didn't have 5-star Neural until very recently, actually, at which point I already had Baseline and everyone built. And I do have Neural Altered built, which is the Neural that Viviana specifically knows. So I have the important one built for the record, but I should also build 5-star Neural. She is another one that's on the very much on the to build list. Deep Color I also want to E2, mostly for IS. 3 stars. And then we get to a mix of units that I have E1 for base skills or for because I use them in the early game. Blaze is a more recent acquisition. I didn't use her in the early game, but it's another one of those ones that I keep meaning to build. I don't usually play on. For one, I don't usually play on emulator, so I don't usually have this many notifications up. But I also use it to sometimes highlight operator records that I haven't read yet, so that I know which ones to go back to. So I do fairly often have some kind of notification up there. Let's see. Oh yeah, here are my not unbuilt 6 stars. A lot of them that I do really want to do. Listen, Pure Stream is very good, but I do have Wispy builds. But I do kind of want to build Pure Stream as like a 4-star single target healing option for IS and stuff, but we will get there. There's a lot of these that I really want to build. Spire has a really interesting kit. I should build Suzu again because I frequently use Chobai. Silence I really like as a character. It has an interesting enough kit that I think would be worthwhile. Lee has a really interesting kit. Shining I like as a character. McGowan I like as a character. Lumen's fine, I guess. I don't have any strong feelings about Lumen, I admit. Masuma I like, and I think she's really underrated, so I want to like build her for her wild amounts of slow on S3. Lynn I'll probably wait to build because I have Carnelian, and I like Carnelian, and I'm a little bit bitter about Lynn being just like kind of straightforwardly, generally speaking, better. Logos I like and is very good. Cool is the operator that tormented me when I was wanting to spark Neural Alter, and I will maybe eventually build her because I think she has an interesting kit and I think she's an interesting character, but I'm just still a little bitter from the pot 4. But Fartooth I just got as an off banner on the Lapland banner, and I really want to build her because I really like her. Chen, maybe eventually I'll build. I already have the 2 other 6-star Sword Masters built, so I'm not super compelled to. Anjuala, I do actually want to. I didn't go into his event thinking that I would necessarily want to, but he was really funny in his event, and he's quite good there. He's just a little guy that kind of sucks in character, but also has a really fun kit. So I should build him eventually. And then there's so many 5-stars that I want to build. Iana is one of the 5-stars I really want to build. Kanta. Mitem actually has some really funny things that I've seen in some really interesting clears that I wouldn't mind looking at. Blitz I really want to build. Ashlock I really want to build. I really like the Pine and Sylvestris gang. Yeah, there are just... Delphine is another one that's up there. Ask Jenny. Ceylon is cool. Like, there's Hibiscus. Rosald, of course. Silence. And of course, as mentioned before, Glaucus. Worf. Ooh, Heidi as well. Lucilla. I could just keep going on. Larkben. There's a lot of 5-stars that I really want to build. And there's more 4-stars that I should keep investing in as well. Like Pinecone and Totter and stuff like that. But no, I think that's a fair... I know, I really want to build Silence Altar. I just haven't quite gotten to that point. Actually, when I was writing my Viviana video, I was looking at ArcRec to see if there were any serious uses of Viviana S1 that had gotten any records. And basically the answer is that it's just my CC clear and a bunch of E0 clears. But one E0 clear that is really good that uses Viviana S1 is the Black Snake Tallulah fight on challenge mode. Specifically uses him to bait out the fire debuff that she shoots, that she sends out periodically, and his cycle of the things recharging and then breaking and doubling is perfect for that, and it's really interesting. And I've also seen some really interesting uses of him in like RA, especially in like the CC version of RA. So I legitimately, I think you might be onto something with him being that good. I think Kanta also has a case to be made, just because she is good, but I just don't think she has quite the utility that he has in interesting ways. So also, yes, beams of Build Verdant. I'm not immune to funny little guys who everyone thinks are bad, and then begrudgingly trying to prove that actually he's okay. So maybe eventually, we'll see. But anyway, this has gone on for like way longer than I meant it to. This is already my longest stream, so I think I'm going to have to call that. But this has been really fun. Thanks everyone for sticking around. Really solid turnout. I'm really honored that everyone has shown out, and thank you for roasting me for the appropriate built and unbuilt operators. Thank you for congratulating me on the right ones. Thank you for cheering Franca, because Franca deserves that. Let's go, Franca. Though I do still very much have to give her Masteries a mod. We will get there. But she can put asleep invis enemies. I did not know that. I actually, speaking of invis enemies going to sleep, I did also... Blemmy is another operator that I used in CC12, and I used her in the middle lane. And I had like a solid like 3 or 4 attempts where I was like, I use her ability when the casters get to her. Why isn't she attacking them? It's because when they're asleep, they're not blocked, meaning they go back to being invisible. So took me kind of embarrassingly long to figure that one out, but I got there in the end. But yeah, thanks everyone for hanging out. It's been a lot of fun. I will be back with another stream hopefully sometime soon, and hopefully the Viviana video is still very much in progress. It is a little bit... It is... The one for Ebenholz was already a lot of work, and this one is admittedly a little bit more ambitious. So we will see how long it takes me to edit and everything for that. But hopefully that'll be out pretty soon. And by pretty soon, I mean within like a month. We'll see. don't want to get your hopes up too high. But yeah, thanks again for hanging out. Hope y'all have a great rest of your day, great night. I don't know what time zones y'all are in, so, but I gotta go drink some tea or something because I've been talking for like 3 hours plus. So, but see y'all later.